Minkus have trained over 500,000 entrepreneurs and business owners in over 31 countries on how to grow and scale their businesses. In 2007, Kane and Alessia founded Industry Rockstar, which is now the world's largest business training and investment company for conscious business owners. They wanted a way of giving back the world-class advising and mentoring they had received from some of the world's best entrepreneurs to help tip the planet towards conscious capitalism. Today, along with the Industry Rockstar Advisor and Investor Dream Team, they mentor and partner with over 1,000 companies every single year. Having presented over 2,000 business systems and success psychology presentations, Kane and Alessia have been invited to speak at prestigious international universities, corporations, and think tanks globally, like the Harvard Club of Boston, Indian School of Business, Flame University, Berkeley School of Music, and World Trade Centers all around the world. They have also partnered with massive entrepreneurs like Sir Richard Branson, founder of the Virgin Group, Kevin Harrington, the original shark from the TV show Shark Tank, Randy Zuckerberg from Zuckerberg Media and founder of Facebook Live, and Vishen Lakhiani, founder of Mind Valley, to bring evolutionary education to the world's entrepreneurs. They have personally been invited to share the stage with the world's leading thinkers and entrepreneurs like Tony Robbins, Robert and Kim Kiyosaki, Bill Clinton, Tony Blair, Tim Ferriss, Lisa Nichols, and John DeMartini. They have consulted or coached massive brands like Sony, Universal Studios, Warner Brothers, DreamWorks, Electronic Arts, Microsoft, SanDisk, and Apple. The Industry Rockstar senior partners have generated a combined total of over $2 billion in revenue from 60 different companies. Kane and Alessia have been featured in over 330 magazines, television shows, and publications, including major news stations like NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, Channel News Asia, Hindu Times, and Entrepreneur Magazine. As philanthropists, they have raised over $5 million for charity around the planet, including for groups like Amnesty International, Virgin Unite, SurfAid, Asha Global, and Heart Kids. Ladies and gentlemen, Kane and Alessia Minkus.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome. Great to see you all. Lovely to have you here. So excited to be spending this week with you here at Start at the Top, Pivot Point, and I am super excited to be kicking off today with you. Happy Monday where you are, wherever you're coming from, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, India, anywhere in the Asia Pacific region. Thanks so much for joining us. Go ahead and take a moment to flip on your cameras. Let's get connected. I'll give you 10 seconds to do that. Get excited. I'm checking you out. I got you all up here. Come on, pop in. Let me see you. There it is. Populate the camera. There they are. They're coming up. Now I can get connected to you and get ready to rock for this week. Lovely to see you here. Welcome, Marilla. Welcome, Coco, Lee, Shawa, Tan, Hayden. Welcome, Zarina. Welcome, Pete Kelly. How are you, my friend? Celine, Wong, Major Morali. That's Dr. Major Morali, I believe it is. Hanafi, Sam, how are you? Jimmy. All right, pull in anybody that I'm not seeing yet, but you will be popping up here. Great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're excited. This is going to be a powerful week of advising you, mentoring you, and helping you understand the systems that we have been using to literally accelerate companies across the world for over a decade, close to 15 years now. Over 3 million students we have graced our wisdom with as we've transferred the systems and the skills of success that we had been endowed upon us, utilized in dozens of our own companies, created hundreds of millions of dollars, and now it is our way of giving back to you to be helping you and supporting you and growing. How many of you are excited to be here this week? If you are, just say yes or put a yes in the chat window if I can't see you, or give me a thumbs up or a big wave in the chat window. Awesome. We're going to have a lot of fun this week. It's going to be a very interactive week, so I hope you're ready for that. We're going to be learning a lot, engaging a lot. And this is a bonus day to get you warmed up for actually our award-winning conference. Tomorrow we start a conference called Start at the Top, which we have won over a dozen awards for the training materials and the content around the planet, as we've delivered it close to 500 times in 32 different countries. It has been it's been our life's work to be able to put together the systems of the sequences and the distinctions that I'm going to be teaching you over those 3 days. And today, I want to get you warmed up through the idea of really helping you understand how you can be creating massive amounts of opportunity in your business. Now, you might be here this week just to get started. You might be here this week because you've been in business for a while and you really want things to be much better than they have been. You may be here this week because 2020 was a mess and you want 2021 to be extraordinary. Or you may be here because 2020 was extraordinary, but you want to keep that strength up. Whatever you're here to do, this week will give you the best practices. As we go through this week, we're not only going to be giving you as much as we can, but every time we train our students in all of our trainings, in our advanced courses, in our mentorship programs, all we're giving you is the best practices of what's going on right now. If you could only step into my day and see what I do on a daily basis with my amazing wife, who's also an accomplished serial entrepreneur and will be with us teaching this week, I can tell you that all we do all week long is obsess over how we can get the best practices out to you. So here's what I want you to do real quickly. I want you to tell me where you're coming from in the world. Tell me that. Drop it in the chat window real quick. Let's celebrate where you're coming from in the world. I'll give you 30 seconds to do that right now. Go ahead. Tell me, where are you coming from in the world? I want to see where you're coming from. Share with me. I want to know who's in the house. Singapore is in the house. Malaysia in the house. I love it. Hong Kong's in the house. Very good. I love it. From all over. All right. So the best part of this week is that we're going to have a lot of time to start diving deep. And I'm going to take you deep into the systems that are going to help you launch or grow your business. And we're going to have the time to really start engaging and looking at the things that business owners do right and that they do wrong. You know, this last week alone, I had an opportunity to be doing, I ran an event for Randy Zuckerberg, a friend of ours, and you know the Zuckerbergs, you know, who created Facebook. And every day I'm getting a chance to see inside of what our friends who are just extraordinary business owners doing. We had Jay Abraham, we have Mike Filsame coming up this week for events that we're running because we're not letting anything stop us. And although we were one of the largest offline organizers, event companies, and mentors on the planet, when COVID shut everything down in live events, we didn't let that stop us. We continued to pivot. And this week is about you pivoting and doing the things you must do to be able to have an extraordinary year. There is more opportunity than we have ever seen that went on in 2020 and went missed and untapped and uncaptured by people and business owners. And I'm going to start to be sharing with you today where you can be looking. And this week is going to be about the systems and the tools and the techniques that we have perfected so that you can be grabbing that. So let's take a look at what we're doing today. First of all, I want to welcome you here to the conference and just say thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere this week and you are here. And that means a lot to me and it should mean a lot to you. And, you know, I know that you've got a lot of things going on. You might have, business stuff going on. You might have children and things. How many of you here actually have children? Just out of curiosity, just drop a yes or just put your hand up in the chat window if you have children. Awesome. Well, you might be finding this an amazing way to have a great excuse to not have to be with the children for 5 days. That's one of my favorite parts of leading conferences and events. We, of course, have 3 children. I'll tell you lots of fun, crazy stories about them because we got lots of craziness going on at our house here with the 3 kids. In the meantime, though, this week is about some very specific things, and I want you to write these things down, what this week is about. First of all, this week is about getting some major clarity. That's what this week is about. I'm going to want you to have and leave this week with absolute clarity on how you're going to grow your business. Now, some of you here are ready to launch. You're just getting started. That's just fine. I'm going to be taking you from the very beginning all the way through to what can create a 7-figure-a-year business. Okay, I'm going to say that again. What I'm teaching you here will create a 7-figure-a-year business. Now, I started my first company at 20 years old. It was just coming, I must have been just at the tail end of 19 years old. And I started my first company. And all I really wanted is I wanted to make sure that I could create a multi-million-dollar business, that I could create a business that was going to be a very, very powerful for for my life and my success. And so what I'm teaching you this week is how to create a 7-figure business out of what we do here. And so I want you to get a lot of clarity about that. And so clarity is going to be a very important part of it. And I think a lot of people could really use a lot more clarity. In fact, give me a little hands up or a big thumbs up or a big yes in the chat window if you'd love to get a lot more clarity this week in your business. Go ahead and just put that up and say yes if you would like that. Awesome. Awesome. And I want you to just write down that clarity is going to be a big theme this week, because I want you to actually be looking for how you can get a lot clearer with what you're looking to do, and a lot clearer in the systems that you need, a lot clearer in the decisions you need to make. The second thing that this week is about empowering you with how to get it done. So, a lot of people in these events that I'm training you in here, they spend a lot of time selling you on the why. Why do you need to get it done? I actually have no interest in spending the week talking about why. I think you know why you need to be here and why you need to have mentors and why you need to be consistently training as a business owner. So I want to start getting into the how do we do these things? Because the reality is that when I start mentoring students, there is so much how to talk about in their businesses. If they want to be hitting 7 figures and integrating these things, we need to start right now with teaching you how to get it done. So we're going to talk a lot about how to get things done so that you can feel empowered. And over the last 15 years, I have been training business owners how to get a lot more clarity and getting them a lot more empowered with what they need to do. Now, who here would love to learn about what you need to do to get your business up to a 7-figure business, out of curiosity? Who would love that? Just give me a little hands up or a high five or a yes. Okay, awesome. And so that is going to be what this week is about. But here's the interesting thing. Over the last 15 years in training all these people, I thought that if I just helped them get clear and I helped them get empowered, that they were just going to have success. It turns out something else comes up for human beings when they actually get clear and when they get empowered. Does anybody want to guess what happens for human beings when they get clear about what they need to do and what they get empowered? Does anyone want to take a quick guess? Just throw out the chat window. What do you think people actually have happen? What do you think is the thing that people have happen when they get clarity and they get empowered? Okay, Pete says get into action, right? Celine says results. Okay, very good. What else we got? I'm monitoring you guys all right here. Major Morley says they get rich, right? Now, turns out they become confident. Who is it? Florence says okay, very good. Shu says they get what they want. Hayden says they get focused. Okay, they get to scale up. Well, here's the interesting thing. I thought all that too. And then I learned that when people get clarity around what they want and they get empowered to know how to get it, the first thing that comes up is actually fear, which is incredible, but that is what comes up for people. When they actually realize that they have clarity in how to get something done, the first thing that they have that comes up is fear. And fear shows up in lots of ways: procrastination, sabotage, running the other way, becoming numb. However they do it emotionally, that is one of the first signs of people having fear, because they know what they should be doing and how to get it done. And so this week is about a third thing. We got clarity, we got empowerment, but I want you to write this down. This week is about courage. It's about the courage to take the steps that you know you need to take to then implement and really get these things into your business and get mentored, where you can learn how to actually get these things into your business over the next year, where you can actually have these techniques become real in your life. It's going to take some real courage to take the jumps and the leaps that you need to do to make the change. And that is where we start to mentor students. And that is why we're here this week, is to get you to that point where you have everything that you need. And the last step for you is going to be the courage. So if you're ready to make some new decisions, if you're ready to take on some new actions, if you're ready to do some amazing new things for yourself this year in 2021, just put me into the chat window. I want to know who is ready for some massive change and rapid acceleration. If that's you, just say me in the chat window. Awesome. Great. Well, then let's get rocking. So this week, I'm not going to be just training here by myself. I'm also going to be training here with our team. And of course, our team is the incredible Start at the Top team. It is the team, the dream team, and it's the team that also mentors all of our students in our mentoring programs. It is myself and Alessia, and we'll be here this week, of course, teaching live. Kevin Harrington will be here this week teaching live. And of course, Corey will be here this week teaching live. We're all going to be taking different turns, different days, different segments, teaching you from our own expertise, and you're going to be learning from all 4 of us throughout the week. Combined, we have created over $2 billion in revenue combined. Now, why is that important for you? Well, that's just important to know that we have been there and we have done it. We have learned things through what is working and what is not working in businesses. And what that means is that we have spent the years refining our techniques, making sure that we understand not only what we're doing in our own businesses, but we've also taken the time to learn how to transfer those skills to others. And that is what we have perfected as a team. And that's what I'm very, very, very proud of. So this week, when we teach you, each of us are going to teach you from our different expertise. And the fun thing is, for example, we have an even split between women and men. And so we wanted to make sure that everybody here had the ability to be learning from mentors that they connected to very deeply. And what that means is that you'll have an opportunity to learn from different women, you'll have an opportunity to learn from different men, and you'll have an opportunity to learn from international, Europeans, Americans, Canadians, all over the board. You're going to have an opportunity to be connecting with people that have done it all over the planet. The number one question that I often get from students in Asia is, will this stuff really work in Asia? Like, will this stuff really work for us? And of course, the answer is yes. But they always need a little bit of that reassurance in the work that we do together. And you're going to see as we start to go across the world with all of our different trainers and all the different techniques, and as you're going to get connected to how many people we have trained across the world, you're going to realize that, in fact, this stuff works everywhere. And it's going to get exciting for you because you know that you are going to be able to use it exactly where you live, but not just for you locally, but for you internationally. Who here would love to make money globally? If you would just say yes into the chat window or give me a high five or a hands up. Awesome. Good. Ann says yes. Rockville says yes. Rwanda says yes. Cora says yes. Excellent. If you want to make money globally, you have to think globally. And in my mid-20s, I got a chance to mentor at Microsoft with a gentleman named Rick Belluzzo, who was the COO there. And of course, Bill Gates was there at that time as well. And they used to say to us, if you want to get really rich, you got to figure out where the world is headed and get there first. And that means that we're going to be looking at how to get to the opportunities first and where the world is headed. This week is about what is coming up in the world, where the world is trending to, because we've seen an entire paradigm shift over the last year. It has been a very, very powerful shift because of what's gone on. And you are going to be armed more than almost anybody else in the business world to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that are coming up. So here's what we're up to today. Today, we're going to be in a quick opportunity accelerator. I'm just getting you warmed up for this week and for this conference. We're going to go through just 3 hours, three quick hours here, where we're going to get an opportunity to essentially discover new possible revenue streams and some new immediate pivot strategies. So I'm going to make sure that you've got some new ideas on exactly how you can be grabbing a lot more opportunity. And I'm going to share with you some of the secrets that we have been discovering that are going to help you get way ahead this year. This is what our focus is for today to get us warmed up for the conference that we're going to then jump into tomorrow. So let's take a look at exactly what are the 8 pivots that I'm going to be looking at today, because this is where we're going to be focusing our attention on today. The first pivot area is I want to look at the way that you're creating value in the world and consider how we can be creating a deeper amount of value with our clients, with our customers, and with the marketplaces. So we're going to look at that. That's going to be one of the first places that you can pivot the way you engage in the marketplace. And I want you to start thinking about what is the value that you're bringing to the marketplaces that you engage with. So what do you do? What kind of changes are you looking to make? Who are you looking to serve? What kind of impact are you looking to make? And I don't want you to answer me right now. I want you to start thinking about these things, because when I mentor our students and we start mentoring them, we have to really get crystal clear about what it is that their positioning is in the marketplace is making a difference. What is the value that they're really bringing to the marketplace? The second area we're going to look around having greater opportunity is where you're investing your time. And over the last 15 years, trading over 3 million students, I have learned that most entrepreneurs spend their time in the wrong place. They're very, very good at enthusiastically running in the wrong direction. And I'll say that again. Have you ever asked for directions from somebody? You get this all the time in the States. I don't know if you get this in Singapore, Hong Kong, or Malaysia. But in the States, if you ask somebody for directions, they'll say, oh yeah, really confidently. You're going to go down the street, take a left at the first stoplight, go down one more street, and take a right at the next stoplight, and you're right there. And you go down, and you get there, and there's nothing there. Has anybody ever had that happen before? Right? And so I've learned that entrepreneurs are great at enthusiastically running in the wrong direction. Well, we're going to start to get you oriented as to where you should be putting your attention, because I bet that most of your attention is put in the wrong place. But we'll look at that today, and we'll get you there. The third area that we're going to look for creating greater opportunity is how you differentiate yourself and how you differentiate your business. One of the most difficult things that entrepreneurs have to face is how do they differentiate themselves from everybody else in the industry? And we'll look at several ways you can do that today. And throughout the entire week here, we're going to be looking at that in general, because differentiating yourself is critical. If somebody can't tell the difference between you and your competitor, you're going to be essentially making it difficult for yourself to arrive at a place where they're going to choose you over your competitor. Number 4, we're going to look at how you can pivot the way you connect with your clients. Today, customers and clients are doing completely different things than they ever have. They're connecting in totally different ways. And so we're going to talk about how you can change the way you're connecting with your clients and how you can pivot that so that you can connect much more deeply with a marketplace. The 5th pivot we're going to look at today is where you can put your attention. And where you're putting your attention will change the ultimate results that you're getting with all of your efforts. So we'll look at where you're putting your attention and how to change all that. Number 6 is we're going to look at the sequence of your efforts. Because when you resequence your efforts, there's an actual sequence that will make a huge difference that will, of course, actually produce better results than if you're doing the wrong sequences. And I'm going to take you through our sequence, our 9-step sequence for success that we have taught all over the world. And I'll be sharing with you that sequence today because we're going to be following that sequence through this entire week. Number 7, we're going to look at the way you expand your revenue. And Corey will be joining us here today. And she's going to be talking about how we expand revenue through products and what she'll be teaching you this week to help service business owners and physical product business owners expand their revenue through their products. And number 8, we're going to look at the way you're bringing energy to your marketplace. These are the 8 different pivot places that we're going to be looking at today and throughout the week here. And I would like to actually ask you, which one seems most exciting to you? Just let me know which one seems most exciting to you. I'll give you 30 seconds to drop that into the chat window. Go ahead. Awesome. So you're saying all of them. Keep going. I'll give you another 10 seconds. All right. Awesome. So let's start with essentially the first one here, and as we start to think about how we're going to create more value for the marketplace, I'm going to start to share with you a little bit about how we're going to set up today's agenda. So today's agenda is going to essentially be this. I'm going to teach you how to maximize this conference because I have taught hundreds and hundreds of conferences, and I've noticed that many, many participants have actually no idea how to actually maximize their conference to actually get the most out of it. So they go through these things and they just watch them and they don't have the ability to maximize it. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about the 6 positions in business. And I'm going to share with you about where you should be putting your attention to make sure you're getting the most out of your business. We're also going to be talking about the 5 biggest challenges that business owners must solve today. And I'm going to be looking at the 7-step industry rockstar formula. And then we'll take a quick break. Then we're going to look at growth factors in products. And Corey will be here with us with that. Then we're going to be looking at finding great ideas for growth and finally aligning yourself with the calling for a business. And we're going to do something pretty extraordinary at the end here. We're actually going to do a networking opportunity. So for those of you that will stay all the way to the end here, we're going to do a bonus networking opportunity that'll give you an opportunity to network with, we've got around 101 people registered for this event. And it looks like we got about 75 with us today, and the rest will be joining us or watching some of the replays. And you'll get a chance to network today to start to meet other people that you're going to be going through this conference with, so that if you want to start thinking about how you can be creating partnerships, maybe you're going to be finding some friends, some customers, some clients, we will do that at the end of this. And I'll facilitate a kind of a speed networking event, which is pretty powerful for everybody to start to meet your colleagues that you're going through this event with. Now, here's one question I'd love to ask you real quickly. I want to know who is here to launch a brand new business, who's here to start something brand new, and who's here to grow an existing business. Can you just drop that in the chat window for me? Give me 10 seconds. You can put either launch or grow, so I know. If you're here to launch a business, drop in the word launch. And if you're here to grow a business, launch in the word, or put in the word grow, so I know that you're here to grow a business. I'll give you just 10 quick seconds to do that. Okay, awesome. It's pretty split down the middle, which is pretty awesome. And then the last question I'm going to ask you real quickly, just so I have a context for everybody that I'm talking to, I'd like you to put in whether you're in a service business or whether you're in a physical product business or whether you're in a technology business. It's service, physical product, or technology. And while you're doing that, because I see some of you are, thank you for being so responsive. I appreciate that. Also drop in if your primary business is business to business or business to consumer. Those quick answers will help me actually shape up everything that I talk with you guys about. And if it's evenly split, then we're going to talk about everything. But sometimes we find we've got a lot of like B2C, a lot of B2B, because it's a mixed bag when we come in here. Awesome. I love it. Services and products, services, products. Okay, it's all over the map. B2B, B2C. Okay, we got it. Awesome. Great. Thank you very much. That helps me very much. So let's just really quickly, I just want to grab a real quick, like 10 seconds on some live streaming etiquette, since I would love for you to, first of all, be using your cameras this week. Gives me an opportunity to connect with you. And the more I feel connected to you and the more you feel connected to me, the better it is to engage. And I really don't care, what you look like or where you are. It doesn't matter, right? But, the difference between looking at a logo or a black, blob on my screen versus seeing you and seeing your gorgeous face like this makes a huge difference. So your camera is optional, but I would really, really appreciate if you could keep it on throughout the week so that we can engage together. Plus, you're going to get a lot more focus and it's going to feel a lot more personal if you do. In the meantime, I want to recommend that you do dress professionally and you take this seriously, just as me. I mean, hey, I'm in our studio here. I could have showed up in my pajamas, but, I want to show up nice and cleaned up and in a suit. And of course, I know we're doing a lot of stuff at home these days, but it would be very, very powerful for you to dress professionally when you show up here on camera. In the meantime, we also want you to stay present to the camera. So, sometimes we have people that are, I'm in the middle of presenting and they might be talking off screen or yelling at their kids or they're eating or they're, just playing around or whatever. And so let's just make sure we stay present and we stay professionally engaged as if you were going to be at a regular meeting. Okay. In the meantime, let's keep the text. I want you to keep the text window professional and appropriate and focused on this particular event. Okay, so what we would recommend and we would request is no spamming in the window, putting a bunch of, what's up, phone numbers or your Instagram account or this and that. If you'd like a way to connect with people, you can go ahead and message somebody directly in the chat window, but let's keep it very professional. We want to keep the chat window open so that you can ask any questions or put anything. So examples of this stuff might be, you can express about what's going on. Hey, I love this part of the training. It's great. Or this is great content to encourage me to maybe to dive deeper into it. Or you can ask a question. Hey, if I'm going for more visibility this year, what's the best way to start? You could ask maybe the admin staff here, what's the next time for break? You could also say things, just compliments and things that will just keep me lit up and excited and having a lot of fun. Okay. And so in the meantime, let's keep it very focused on the event. Let's keep spam out of the window. And there you have it. So let's talk about how to maximize your conference week. We've got 5 days together, and I'm going to be packing in my own 20 years of experience in these 5 years in business. Then you're going to have Alessia, Kevin Harrington, and Corey. We have about 100 years between us that we're going to be packing in. It's our life's work into this week, and we're going to do as much as we can. We go as fast as we can to get you as much as possible. And then we will be inviting you and giving you an opportunity to apply for a mentorship opportunity that we do that's very exclusive. And you're going to learn this week is the last time ever actually to put in an application where our team will actually be hand holding and mentoring the students that come through this particular mentorship course. It is the last time, as we have just recently funded a new technology division to our business. And after this, we will no longer be personally mentoring any of our students after this. It's a very exciting opportunity for us and project for us that we're heading into here, which we believe will be close to $100 million plus business. And from your side, it gives you the last opportunity to engage and join us for that. So let's talk about how to maximize your conference opportunity. Here's the first thing I want to suggest. I want to suggest that you ask the questions that you want to ask. Now, I can tell you that many times people are a little bit shy about the questions they want to ask because they feel like, hey, maybe it's a dumb question. And I just want to tell you that there are no dumb questions. No dumb questions. There is the question that you need answered, and you should feel free to ask any question you want. I have got you monitored here in the studio. As you can see, I've got you right here on I'll give you even a bigger snapshot of that. There you are. I've got you right here. And right here, I've got all the chats that are coming through and everything that you guys are talking about. And that way, I can answer any of your questions as they come up. In the meantime, if I can't answer your question in the moment, I will get to it as soon as I can. I might answer it on a break, or I might say, I see that question. I saw it come in and I will answer it as soon as I can. But please feel free to ask the questions because there's no reason to be sitting here this week with a bunch of questions that you're not having answered. Okay. That's the first way to maximize your conference results. The second way is to make sure that you participate fully. This means I'm going to ask and I'm going to engage you regularly throughout this week. I'm going to ask you to drop in questions or drop in answers, I should say. I'm going to ask you about yourself. I may ask you to participate in a hot seat with me or a demo. And I would like everybody to jump on these opportunities. Look, it's not every day that you have an opportunity to work with someone who's created hundreds of millions of dollars and has also taken the time to decode all of our systems. And so I'm here for you. I'm here to serve you this week. And that means that while you're here, you should ask the questions you want and really fully engage by taking every opportunity, whether it's an opportunity to talk to our team, whether it's an opportunity to do a hot seat, whether it's an opportunity to come to a Q&A with us. We're going to give you as many opportunities as possible. And the students who get the most out of these weeks and have the most success out of these weeks, they always participate fully. From there, I want you to do some new things this week. I want you to actually take some new risks this week and do things that you have never done before. In other words, I would like you to actually take some actions in between the sessions. Now, every once in a while during the session, I'm going to say, I want you to write this down, and I would encourage you to write that down. And I may say, here's your homework between today and tomorrow, or here's your action item. Either way, what I'm looking to do is have you take things from theory into practicality. Nothing that I teach you is actual theory. It is all the stuff that we do in our businesses. I don't even know what theory is. All I know is what we do in our companies to be generating 8 figures, 9 figures a year in our companies. And I'm just going to be teaching you what we do. That's it. So in between the sessions, I may ask you to go out and do something and engage, whether it's pick up the phone and call somebody, email somebody, go out and negotiate a new deal, or set up an outline for a book or something that will start to have you engage in moving your life forward. This week should be an in-action doinar, not a seminar, not a webinar. It should be an in-action doinar, and that's what I would like for you. So I want you to actually do things that maybe you say, oh my gosh, that would make me nervous to get out there and do things so quickly. Don't I have to be more prepared? I'm going to ask you to put things into action. So many entrepreneurs and so many people basically end up not getting what they want because they just don't take enough action. If you stop worrying about being a perfectionist and you start getting much more focused on taking action or progressing in your business, you're going to have a lot more success. From there, I want you to take advantage of every opportunity. And this kind of plays inside of the participating fully. This week, you will have an opportunity to actually get on the phone with one of the senior advisors and mentors here at Industry Rockstar and talk privately about your business and your situation. Who here would love to actually be able to talk privately with somebody about your business growth, and your plan for this year? If you would just say yes to that chat window, let me know that you would love to have an opportunity to talk to somebody personally. Awesome. So we have graciously secured all of our senior advisors here at Industry Rockstar, and we have asked them to be prepared for a telephone call or a Zoom meeting with anybody that would like to do that. So we have arranged them, and I will let you know later in this week how you can secure that. There is no cost to that. There is nothing. They're not salespeople, so they're not getting you on the phone to say anything. They are here to help you understand what is the next step, and you're going to want to secure that opportunity to do that. So take advantage of every opportunity that I give you this week. And I want you to be listening with an open mind. I'll tell you that the number one thing I always get told, now I've been training in Asia, just so you understand my street credits, because I know a lot of you are here from Hong Kong, Malaysia, and Singapore. Prior to the pandemic, for the last 10 years, I have been coming to Singapore, Hong Kong, and Malaysia about every 12 weeks. I've been giving trainings. I have trained tens of thousands of business owners from Japan all the way down to Singapore, into Indonesia. In fact, I've been to Myanmar, Brunei, Vietnam. I've run events with 18,000 people in Vietnam. We've run events with thousands of people in Bangkok and Thailand. Thousands of people. We brought Sir Richard Branson to Singapore. I've done events with Michelle Chong in Singapore, the TV star. And so the point is that I have really spent a lot of time understanding what works in the Asian world. And I know people always say to me, oh my gosh, but you're American and you're so American. But I will tell you that the techniques that we teach you will work anywhere in the world. They are universal. And here's why. I've spent the last 20 years understanding the mind of human beings and entrepreneurs. And what I'm training you in this week and what I mentor our students in over the year that I mentor them is I change the way they think forever, the way they relate to price points, the way they relate to sales, the way they relate to branding, visibility, communication, the way they relate to and they are connected to technology, the way they think about selling things and doing things in presentations and pitches. Your world is about to totally shift and change. But you have to be open. You have to be open that things that you hear that you think you're skeptical about, oh, I don't know if that would work here, just remain open. I'm not saying that you have to just immediately accept it, people always say to me, Singaporeans are the most skeptical people on the planet. And then they'd say Hong Kong people are the most skeptical people on the planet. they'd say Malaysians are the most friendly people on the planet. But the point is that everybody's concerned about whether these techniques will work for them. And when they start to utilize them, they realize that we've trained 3 million people from 80 countries across the world. And everybody who applies the technique seriously, they take it seriously, they have massive growth and massive success. And the good news for that around you is that all you have to do is take it seriously and take action, which is awesome. The very last way to maximize this conference is to actually set an intention for having a breakthrough. Look, a lot of people come to these conferences and these events and they just say, "Oh, I'm just here to check it out. I just wanted to see what he had to say. I just like learning. I'm just going to come." Look, you're not here just to check this out. You're here to have a breakthrough in your business and in your life. If you're going to be around me, I push our students to the limit to be able to get the most out of their lives, and they become unrecognizable to themselves about the amount of money they're able to create, the amount of impact they're able to make. Their circles of friends change. Their ability to travel and do things becomes something that they've never dreamed of before. It went way past their dreams. But you have to start by setting your intentions to have breakthroughs in your life and in your business. So I'm going to ask you to do that right now. I want you to consider that when you go through this entire week and you arrive at the end of this week, that something happened or a big breakthrough that you want to have this year, and you are really focused on that. What is the big breakthrough that you want to have? I want you to think about that. I'm going to give you 1 minute to consider what is a huge breakthrough that you want to have during this week or beyond getting mentored that you are really committed to this year. And I want you to jot that into the chat window. Write that down in the chat window so we can start to see what are you really committed to around actually making a huge year for yourself in business. So go ahead, 60 seconds. What is a big intention that you want to set for a huge breakthrough in your world this year? Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's go. Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. Yeah. And we gon' make you lose your mind. Everybody just have a good time. Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. And we gon' make you lose your mind. Yeah. We just wanna see you shake that. In the club, party rock. Looking for your girl, she on the jock, huh? Now stop when we in the spot. Booty moving weight like she on the block. With a drink, I got to know. Tight jeans,
All right, 10 more seconds.
Gang of money, opened up. Yeah, I'm running through these halls like Drano. I got that devilish flow, rock and roll, no halo. We party rock. Yeah, that's the crew that I'm repping on a rise to the top. No lead in our Zeppelin. Hey, party rock is in the house tonight. Woo! Everybody just have a good time. Yeah, and we gon' make you lose your mind. Everybody just have a good time. Let's go. Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. Feeling bad. And we gon' make you lose your mind. We just wanna see you.
All right, I love it. So we got things in here like bring my business ideas to life, increase revenue 10x and get into wisdom businesses, make actionable plans and achieve it, annual business action plan, launch a new business with great results. Wong says, expand my business and income. Shamala says, 7-figure income this year. Yvonne says, launch my business. I love these guys. Build multi-million-dollar business. Benjamin, moving my business to 7-figure revenue from a current 6-figure in revenue. Awesome. When you set these intentions, you're going to start drawing to yourself the answers and the opportunities that you need to create these. So thank you for participating in that. Okay, so I want to make sure that everybody actually received the manuals and the handouts that we had. And if you did not, I want to make sure you can do that right now. That's the QR code. If for any reason you did not get the manuals for this event, we want to make sure that you've got that right now. And so if you did get it, can you just say yes into the chat window or just give me a big thumbs up? Because I just want to make sure everybody got this. And if you didn't, what I want you to do right now is either grab that link, or the team will throw the link into the chat window right now. And of course, as they do, it speeds by. But you got it right there, wealthmastery.asia/SATT details. We got a bit.ly link up on the screen and the QR code. Either way, it'll all get you to the same place. You should have 3 handouts, the manuals and 2 additional handouts. So if you have gotten that, can you just put your hand up or just say yes so I know that you've gotten it? And if you have not gotten it, go ahead and do that right now. I want to give you a few seconds right now to go ahead and grab all of that stuff so you have everything that you need. You're going to use this manual throughout this week for note-taking. It's going to have all the systems and everything. So it's a complete manual of everything that we talk about this week, plus more. Actually, there's quite a bit more in there. Plus, you're going to have all of our packages. You're going to have information on our mentoring programs, things that you're going to want to look at to understand high-ticket sales packages as we talk more about that throughout the week. And so just let me know when everybody has gotten that. So you can just put a yes or got it into the chat window. I want to make sure everybody's got that, and then I will continue to move along. So go ahead and grab that right now, and then just put got it into the chat window, and we will keep moving along. Go for it.
Hey, 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 I'm in the house. Hey, 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 I'm in the house. Hey, 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 I'm in the house.
Okay, great. Looks like you're all going to be able to get it.
Hey, hey, yo. Yo. I'm in the house.
Okay, awesome.
I'm in the motherfucking
Perfect. So if anybody has any trouble with that, the team at Wealth Mastery can help you out. By the way, I just also want to give a big thank you and a big shout out to the Wealth Mastery team, the ZGM team in Singapore, who we are partnered with and who's always helping us on the structural side. So we want to give them big thanks. We give them big claps for supporting us. They'll be here all week. If you have any issues or any challenges or you have any questions, you can be connecting to the team to be able to do that. Okay, so let's kick off here with something that I think is one of the most important initial conversations I teach any business owners, whether they have been in business for a while or whether they are new to business. And it's called the 6 positions of business. It turns out that there are 6 positions that you can be in the business world. And 3 of them have a very high value and 3 of them have a very low value. Let's take a look at the different positions, because unfortunately, people have not been taught entrepreneurship. They have never been taught how to run businesses. You know, we've all grown up essentially with parents that worked for someone else, or we went to school and we learned from people. You know, I mean, obviously, I've never actually worked for anybody. Since I was 19 years old, I started my first business, and I've always worked for myself. I've had over 38 of my own companies, right? And so I have my kids, and they're growing up, in a household where my wife and I are both serial entrepreneurs and very successful entrepreneurs. Well, you would expect that they would have nothing but the best entrepreneurial education. And we certainly do everything we can to train them in things as early as possible. We start by joking with them or showing them things in a totally different way, because business owners, we teach our children completely differently than the way employees teach their children. And yet when they go to school, they're still getting trained by employees every day about how to do things and how to think. And so unfortunately, the entire world has grown up being trained by employees to think like employees. How many of you would agree with that? And you can see what I'm saying, that if you went to school or you grew up with parents that were employees, that you could see that you were getting trained and educated in ways that were conscious and unconscious about how to think about life. And when I say life, I mean things like your own value, how to bring value to the world, pricing things and how much things cost, and all these different things that essentially limit our ability to become extraordinary entrepreneurs. Now, I'm just going to say something that I think is a little controversial, but I think it's true. And I'll tell you that in 2012, I did a tour where I toured with Tony Robbins and I toured with Lord Alan Sugar and Donald Trump, okay, who at that time was just an actor. And he was a very accomplished entrepreneur and real estate mogul, of course, right? And now he's a whole different brand in the world, right? Totally different person. But in the meantime, we were on stage at one time talking. We were doing a part together, and I always thought he was a little harsh with the audience, a little aggressive with people. I mean, I'm a little bit more of a heart-centered kind of mentor and entrepreneur, and he was really just, would slice and dice people. But he said something one time that actually I remember to this day, and I thought that it was very true. He says to the audience, he says, not everybody should be an entrepreneur. He says, some of you are better off spending your life having somebody tell you when you're going to have a holiday, how much money you're going to make, what kind of life you're going to be able to have, when you're going to be able to go to the bathroom, when you're going to go home, what you're going to do on your weekends. And he said, others of you will actually take that into your own hands, but you're going to have to walk through the fire. And I thought that's really true. I mean, I always said to people that, anybody can be an entrepreneur. And the truth is that you have to want to become a powerful and world-class entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And some of you this week may say, you know what? I don't want to be an entrepreneur, because you're going to say, what has to get done? What has to get done? It's not about what you want to get done. I mean, these things where everybody says, do what you're passionate about, love what you do. That's okay for beginning. But if you want to be a 7-figure, 8-figure entrepreneur, if you want to make money where you can build wealth and take care of your parents and take care of your family, and you want to go through fluctuations in the marketplace, every real entrepreneur will tell you it's going to take every ounce of your energy, but you're going to be more proud of yourself. You're going to feel more fulfilled and more satisfied every day than in anything else you do. So who's okay with that message, and you understand that that's the truth behind building businesses and running businesses? If you to just say yes, or put your hand up, or put your thumbs up in the window, and if you're going, oh my gosh, I was expecting a whole lot simpler, softer. Well, I thought about when he said that, I said, it's very true that entrepreneurship is for people that are really committed to having the life they want. And you know what you have to be committed to? You have to be committed to your own personal growth. I want you to write this down. A business is a reflection of the business owner. It's a reflection of the business owner. Now, anybody can grow to be a successful entrepreneur. We were on a panel with Elon Musk, and somebody asked Elon, are entrepreneurs born or are they made, right? And the same question I got asked to Tony Fernandez this week. And I was on a panel with him in Clubhouse, where he was the CEO of AirAsia. And they said, are entrepreneurs born or are they made? And I've heard this question so many times. I've gotten interviewed by over 300 media stations across the world, including Channel News Asia and all these huge television. And they always ask me that question. Are entrepreneurs born or are they made? And all of us will tell you the same thing. There's nothing born about an entrepreneur. All entrepreneurs is from a human being that chooses to take on the world, the life, and chooses to step into a future where they get to choose how their life is going to go. It's a choice. And because you came here this week, I'm assuming that you have chosen to say, I am going to rise up and do what I need to do. I'm going to elevate myself over anybody else that I need to, whether it's my family or my friends or my culture, to become a powerful entrepreneur. I'm going to be the person that's going to make the difference, carry the message, and make an impact. If that's true for you, I just want you to say yes in the chat window. I want to know who that's true for. Those that are serious about that you've made that commitment to yourself that you're going to be a powerful entrepreneur. Okay, good. So let's talk about where entrepreneurs are investing their time. So the lowest position in business is actually how you invest your time. So how you invest your time is one of the most important conversations in business. And the lowest position in business that people are investing their time in is called the idea person, or the idea position. Having an idea for a business, many people are caught up in trying to find the right idea for their business. Sometimes because people have told them that if you have a great idea, sometimes I've heard one great idea can make you a billionaire. Well, no, not at all. But a well-executed idea can. And so I want you to write this down. Ideas are worthless, but execution is everything. I was interviewing a gentleman this week who had done 300 million plus businesses, because every single day I do 2 interviews a day at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in my time zone here. And it doesn't matter where they are in the world. I interview 2 brilliant 8 or 9-figure entrepreneurs, and I've done this for over 10 years to understand exactly what they're doing. This week I was interviewing a gentleman who had built 300 million plus companies in media, in entertainment, and in events. And he had behind him on his wall in his office, it said, execution is everything. And I said, I love that. I've been teaching that for over a decade, because ideas are not nearly as important as great execution. So what I do with our mentoring students is I help them actually execute the principles of what we go through this week. But yet most people are stuck in the place of saying, what's a great idea? The second lowest paid position in business is the manager. And the manager is somebody who's working for somebody else managing their business. Does anybody here right now have a job, and you're actually at a job right now? Just curious, anybody work for somebody else and that's how you make most of your living? Okay, great. Very cool. And so this week is going to change your entire perspective. You're going to realize by the end of this week that it will make no sense for you to ever have a job. You're going to become what I call unemployable. And it won't be because you're going to be rich by Friday. That's not going to be practical, nor is that going to be real. But what you will actually understand is you're going to understand what you need to do for the rest of your life to build the greatest amount of wealth. And it's going to make no sense for you to do that for somebody else. But check this out. It turns out that only 5 to 7% of the entire world are entrepreneurs. And that means that 93 to 95% of the world are all employees. That means you're probably entirely surrounded by employees. Your friends are probably surrounded by employees. And you know how you know? Because they're often very negative about what's going on in the world. Does anybody have any negative people around you these days? You got any people that are very narrow-minded or negative, or they kind of, you tell them, you share great ideas with them and they say, oh, you can never make that happen. That will never work. Has anybody ever done that? Shared a great idea with somebody, they told you it would never work? Yeah. Well, you know what happens when the money starts rolling in? You go from idiot to genius. And so you're going to learn that as entrepreneurs, you're going to need to make your choices, and you're going to need to make those choices probably differently than the way everybody else is making those choices. Who's okay to be able to make new choices this week that are different than the way your family, your friends, your culture would make them in order to have a completely different future than the way everybody else lives? If that's you, just say yes or give me a thumbs up or give me a yes in the chat window. Okay, awesome. This is what we're talking about here. My job, I do one thing only in the world with people all over the planet. I empower them to make better choices. Our students make better choices than other entrepreneurs that have not trained. They make better choices than their family and their friends. And because of that, they get rewarded differently than if they didn't make those choices. The third lowest paid position in business is the doer. It's the lowest paid position. And this is the person who's constantly busy doing things. Now, they have trained you, your society, your parents, school has trained you to stay busy. You know why? Because it keeps you nice and orderly and in order. That's what they need. They don't need independent. They don't need independent. They don't need independent. We'll drop the audio off there. They don't need independent thinkers. They need people who are orderly, right? Because they don't need a school full of people that are all individual thinkers. They need people that follow the rules, right? So check this out. Have you ever heard someone say to each other, they said, how's it going? And one person says, busy. And the other person says, good for you. You ever heard that before? And then the other person says, busy's better than not busy. You ever heard that before? Those people are crazy. Freedom is better than busy. And what we need to talk about this week is how to actually create freedom. Now, I want to share something very interesting with you, and I want you to pay very close attention to this. And then I'm going to share something on our whiteboard here. What I'm actually going to be sharing with you, which is very unique, which is something that Alessia and I are developing for a future program, which I'm going to start sharing with you this week, is called an 8-figure blueprint. Now, listen very carefully because I'm about to share something with you that's remarkable and revolutionary. Most of the world that teaches in the world of mentors and advisors have created either 6 or 7-figure businesses. So they teach from a format and a mindset of 6 or 7 figures. Our team has all created 8 or 9-figure companies. Alessia, you'll find out, was born into an 8-figure business with her parents and then tripled the company and then started 7 of her own companies that she took to high 7 and 8 figures. I, of course, have had dozens of companies, not all of them, but 8 figures, but I've had over a dozen 8-figure companies. And the point is that when you learn an 8-figure blueprint, you change the way you do things from the beginning. Even if you just wanted to make $50,000 this year or $100,000 this year, I'm going to train you to think like nobody else would ever train you, because most people are not even qualified to talk about an 8-figure business. But that is what we have been running for over a decade, is 8 figures a year. How many of you would love to learn a 10, 20, 50, $100 million blueprint so that you can break off a little bit of that and put it into your business and create what you want? Who would find that pretty awesome, to be learning the insides of that? Awesome. And the question you might ask is, why is he so passionate or invested in us being able to create success in our businesses? And there's a very simple reason. I do not make money off of education. And you probably noticed that from being here. I don't make money off education. That's not how we make our money. We make money off of partnering with great business owners. I've been doing this for over a decade. In fact, I have taught most of the brands in the world that you know who said, you know what? I should stop selling education and start figuring out how to partner with people. We have taught that because I learned that about 12 years ago from Tony Robbins and Jay Abraham. They said, start partnering with people. So let me just ask you a question. If I helped you make an extra $1 million this year, $1 million, US dollars, so whether you're in Hong Kong or Malaysia or Singapore, doesn't matter, $1 million US dollars, who would be okay giving me 100,000 of that $1 million after you make it? Who'd be okay with that? Giving me 100,000 of that $1 million after you make it. Awesome. You see that? Pretty good. That's what I'm looking to do this year with you. I want to help you make an extra $1 million this year, and then I'm going to ask you for 10% of that. Now, we'll get into that way down the line, so don't worry about that. It's not like you've committed to anything. I'm just saying that the way I think is not about selling these, $5 this and $7 that. I'm going to train you how to be thinking from an 8-figure blueprint so you can be creating massive amounts of success. And I'm going to be throwing things out there that you're going to find controversial. Like, you're going to learn about how social media is some of the biggest waste of time you could possibly spend time on. And I'll show you how to navigate some of it, but I'm going to show you how to put it into your business so that you're creating money and not just spending time posting all the time. How many of you kind of know what I'm talking about? You've been spending a lot of time blowing time around social media and nothing ever real comes out of it. Good. And there are some ways to make it happen. I'm not an anti-social media guy. I love it. We use it as well. But I'm going to start sharing with you what the real players of the world are doing to create 8- and 9-figure businesses. And it's totally different than what it takes to do a 6- or 7-figure business. And the reason you want to learn that, even if you're just getting started, is because you're going to set yourself up for a more valuable business than you have ever dreamed of. Okay, this is why it's so different. This is why we have been invited all over the world to teach alongside the greatest people, is because we're not teaching the simple, dimple strategies. We're teaching people how to take their time and turn it into massive value in their businesses. Who here would love to start a business and sell that business for tens of millions or hundreds of millions or even just a couple $1 million? Who would love to build something of value and put it out in the world and have people say, I want to license it. I want to franchise it. I want to invest in it. Who would love to be building things like that? Wouldn't that be awesome? Good. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. And if you're someone who's saying, hey man, I just came to just find out how to become a coach. I just want to help a few people. No problem. You're going to use the techniques to play at any level you want, but I want to train you for the Olympics in business. And that's why I get asked to speak all over the world with the top speakers, because we're training our students the way it really works. That's why we start at the top. Okay. So let's go back to this real quick. I want you to write something down, and that is this, that being smart does not equal success. Being smart does not equal success. They have nothing to do with each other. And I know that's a very hard pill to swallow. I know. When I used to tour around India, and I used to tour around Asia, and I used to, especially when I go into India, I go into India with Robert and Kim Kiyosaki from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I would say, and I'd be in a room of 2,000, Indian entrepreneurs, all brilliant people. And I'd say, raise your hand if you have an MBA. And, 93% of the room would raise their hands, right? All have MBAs. And then I'd say, keep your hand up if you have a PhD. And about 76% of the room would keep their hand up. And then Robert would get on stage and he'd say, you know what a PhD stands for? Poor, hopeless, and desperate. Right? And so it has nothing to do with being smart. In fact, I could tell you that I have met some of the people that are not that smart at all who are running massive businesses. So it has to do with something else. And we'll share with you what that is. But I want you to write that down. It has nothing to do with being good at what you do. Being good at what you do has very little to do with your success as well. Very, very little to do with your success. You might be saying, what is he talking about? He's like, this is so American, right? I don't have to be smart. I don't have to be good. What is he talking about? That's an American style. Actually, it's everything. And what we have been trained to think about as kids in school is that we had to be smart, we had to get good marks, good grades, and we had to be good at what we did. And in fact, it was not true at all. This week, I'm going to reveal to you the things that we have done to create massive impact and money and success in the world. And you're going to see that they had nothing to do with being smart or being good. But there's one more thing that I want you to understand from this, which is that being busy does not equal success either. Being busy does not equal success. The only thing that equals success in massive scale, which we're going to talk about this week, is actually being leveraged. Let me write this a little bit better for you. You'll notice that I will never have been a writer of any kind. Here you go. Leveraged. I want you to write this word down. Leveraged. This week, everything I teach you is about leveraging your time, leveraging your money, leveraging your talents, leveraging your partnerships, leveraging technology. This word is a word that I'm obsessed with. And there's one other one that I'll teach you later this week. But leverage is going to be the first and critical filter that we're going to look at everything through. That means I want you to learn to be able to do something very simple or do very little things, very little effort, and get massive, massive results out of that. Who would be okay putting in very little work and getting massive amounts of results out of it? If you're okay with that, just say yes, or put a yes in the chat window, or give me a thumbs up. Awesome. All right. So if it turns out that these are the 3 lowest paid positions, then what is the highest paid positions? Well, let's go there. The first high paid position in business is the business owner. It's the business owner. Now, people all the time say that they own a business, and owning a business, it means nothing to me. There's nothing impressive about owning a business. You go down to the city and you file some paperwork, or you get online. In the States, you can own a business in 50 seconds. Okay, $75, you're a business owner. Congratulations. I get cards from people that say, "Oh, I'm the CEO of this business, and the business makes $10 a year." Okay, so what does a business owner really own? What does an owner really own? I want to hear what you have to say. Drop in the chat window. What does an owner really own? If you consider what an owner really owns, what does an owner really own? Let me see what you say. 10 seconds to drop that in the chat window. What does an owner really own?
I see you at your girl, so I brought my boys with me. Let's play some drinking games. I'm just trying to get you tipsy. Win or lose, either way you're gonna have to kiss me. I've been a bad boy, time for you to come and frisk me.
Okay, I love it. Great answers. So Yvonne says resources, freedom, and time. Okay, thank you for that. Genevieve says brand, satisfaction, experience in life. Cora says what I can provide. Tan says their mindset. Sharifa says skill set or talent. Consider this. Consider what a owner actually owns. I'm going to say that there are 3 things that an owner owns, and I want you to write this down. Number 1, an owner owns a brand. They own a brand. And this means that the brand that we're going to help you build this week, we're going to talk about building brands this week. And I'm going to be sharing with you how to build a powerful brand. We're going to be talking about how people build massive brands in the world. And I've worked with massive brands before. I've worked with Steven Spielberg, George Lucas. I've worked with Disney, and we've launched massive brands. We've worked on Porsche campaigns. And I'm going to show you what we were doing to work with Disney and Pixar and DreamWorks and Sony and Warner Brothers to launch massive brands in the marketplace. There are formulas and there are approaches, and I'm going to share that with you this week as much as I can, and then I'm going to help you implement for those that I end up mentoring how to build a powerful brand in the world. Your brand is who you are, and you will always own that. And in fact, we're going to talk about the difference between personal branding and your corporate brand and your product brands, and how to start to really understand how to develop those things. Who here would love to have a much more visible brand in the world this year? Who would love to have that? Much more visibility? Great. You should write this down. People buy what's in front of them now. That's what they buy. People buy what's in front of them. They don't buy the better one. They don't buy, the smarter. They buy what's in front of them. That's what they buy. And if nobody knows who you are or they don't know about your solutions, they can't buy you. They won't even have an option to buy you. And I bet that you are what we call a best kept secret. You're probably great at what you do, able to solve people's problems, or you have great products or services or technologies, but they just don't know you exist. And branding is, first of all, about getting visible, but second, it's about increasing your credibility. It's so that when people see you and you're visible to them, they say, wow, this is a credible solution to my problem. So you should write that down. Branding is about visibility and appearing credible. And when you learn the techniques to increase the perceived value, you can start making triple, quadruple the money that you're charging right now with your products or services. In fact, when you use my techniques this year, you'll probably quadruple your company. If you only even focused on how to brand yourself more powerfully, then you would be able to do that. Who here would love to be a much stronger brand in the world, out of curiosity? Who wants to have a much stronger brand? Okay, great. This is one of the things that I'm a specialist in. I've written 2 best-selling books on this topic, and we're going to talk about the systems and the techniques to that. Some of you came through our branding challenge. How many of you came through our branding challenge, out of curiosity? Just put your hand up if you came through our branding challenge. Okay, great. And we started to dive in deep there. We're going to take it even deeper this week. In the meantime, the second thing that an owner owns is their intellectual property. It's your IP, or what's called intellectual property. These are your products and your services. And this week, I'm going to talk a lot about how to be packaging up your ideas into new products and new services, and sharing with you the products and the services that are working in the world right now that people are buying. Because if you want to make more money, we need to have more physical products or more services at your company or more technology. And we'll talk about how to be developing that rapidly. And the third thing, and I saw somebody drop this into the chat window, in fact, a couple of you, is the third thing that an owner owns is relationships. You could just write that down. Relationships. Relationships are one of the keys to business, and many people have not learned how to get more relationships, nurture the relationships, and get the most out of the relationships that they have. And so we're going to be talking this week about how to be building stronger relationships and networks, and how to be building these things, and how to even be automating the relationship building so that you can build stronger relationships and you can continue to nurture and get the most out of those relationships. That is really it. That's the only difference between an employee and an owner, is that they have a brand. An owner has a brand. They have products and services, and they have the relationships that they need to be able to drive their business. So let's go back to what's next. What's next after brand, or owner rather, is the second highest position, is the leader. The leader is the person that is leading the teams, leading the industry, leading and innovating. One of the highest paid positions in business is the person that's leading everybody else. And I'm going to be talking about how you can be showing up as a leader, as an expert in your industry, and how you can be seen as a thought leader. And it is a way of positioning yourself so that everybody comes to you. The third and highest paid position in business is the closer. The closer is the person who's able to close what? What do you close when you close stuff? You close what? More deals, right? You close more partnerships. You close more opportunities. You close more investment funding. And so some of you came through our Rockstar Closer Challenge, right? How many of you came through the Rockstar Closer Challenge, just out of curiosity? Give me a little hand up or a yes. Awesome. Great. And so you can start to see this is what we're known as some of the best in the world at, is training people to become much better at marketing and sales. Those are two of the most fundamental conversations and are the things that you must be extraordinary at. Who here would love to become much better at marketing and sales this year, just out of curiosity? Who finds that that's a pretty important thing for you? Awesome. Well, you're in the right place, because this week we're going to start talking about all the best practices that are going on right now in those areas. The closer, the salesperson, the closer is the highest paid person in business, many times higher paid than the business owner. Isn't that crazy? The top closers in companies often make more than the owners of the companies by net profit, but they don't have the one thing, which is they don't have the valuation of the exit if they want to sell that business. But in a business where there's no real exit, like let's say you're a coach or a consultant or a graphic designer. I mean, unless you scale your business, there's no, you're not going to sell your coaching company. Let's look at Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins at $60 million a year still could not sell his business because it was all about him. It was personally branded. Well, he wasn't crying about it, but the point is that as a business owner, he wasn't that interested in being the owner. He was much more interested in being the sales guy of that business. And so he drove that organization like a sales organization because that was what was making him the most money. So we got to be great in all of these areas. And that means you want to be trained in how to be an exceptional world-class owner, a great leader, and a top closer. Tell me, out of those three, which one seems like the biggest challenge for you? What's going to be the biggest stretch for you to put attention on and to really grow in? Which one is that going to be for you? I just want to know. Owner, leader, or closer? Drop it in the chat window for me real quick.
Let's go to the beach, eat, let's go get a wave. They say what they gonna say. Have a drink, clink, found a Bud Light. Bad bitches like me, it's hard to come by. The Patron, let's go get it down. The sound, yes, I'm in the zone. Is it 2, 3? Leave a good tip. I'ma blow all of my money and don't give two shits. I'm on the floor, I love to dance, so give me more, till I can't stand. Get on the floor, like it's your last chance. If you want more, then here I am.
So many of you said closer. That's very interesting. Thank you for that. And this is why we do this live. This event is not pre-recorded. This is all 100% live. I always do these live. I've never done a pre-recorded event because I don't believe that you can get the same value out of doing pre-recordings, especially like this, where my intention is to dive deep into every single one of you here. And that's why we keep this small. I've run this event with up to 1,000 people before in rooms, and I've had, a dozen coaches with me, and we're always diving deep to understand exactly who is where and who will be a great fit for us to advise and mentor and dive into over the next year. And so I love doing this live so we can actually get the real feedback of that. So thank you. All right, so one more thing I'm going to actually ask you to do, and then we'll take just a really short break here before we head into our next section, is I would really like you to help me out by understanding more about you. I want to ask you to take a quick 30-second poll for us right now, and the team's going to launch that poll up on the screen, and it's just a few questions that are going to help us really understand exactly who you are and what you're doing here and how to help you get the most out of this week. So this poll will just go ahead and appear. Oh, team, do we have this ready to go from the Wealth Mastery team? Okay, there it is. Perfect. Thank you. Go ahead and drop that in. It takes you 30 seconds. It's just simply a few questions. The first question is, what type of business are you in? And you can either say you're looking to launch, you're in a physical product business, you're in a service business, or in a technology business. The second question is how long have you been in business? Maybe you haven't started yet. Maybe you started this last year or whatever. You've been around for a while. Number 3 is what was your last year's turnover, so we can understand what size you are. And why this is important is because we know down to a science based upon where your turnover is exactly what problems you're having. For example, a $10 million a year business or above is probably not having fundamental branding problems, whereas a company under 50,000 should be having fundamental branding problems. Are you serving B2B or B2C, so we can understand, or both? And finally, what would be the most valuable help you can get? So if we could have everybody do this, we got 72 students on here with us. If everybody could do this right now, take 30 seconds. It'll give us tremendous value. We'll even share that with you so you can even understand what you're looking at, and it'll allow us to craft up this week so that everything we do is absolutely fundamentally built for this group. Go ahead, 30 seconds.
'Cause we're so high. Let's do this one more time. Starships were meant to fly. Hands up and touch the sky. Let's do this one last time. Can't stop. We're higher than a mother. We're higher than a You take all of the light away, but then you give me fire.
All right, great. And then when you're done, you can just drop done into the chat window. And if you haven't done it yet, please go ahead. We're almost got everybody in there, which will give us the best visibility. So go ahead. Another 15 seconds, please. Go ahead.
You're contagious, baby. Love when you love me, hate me. The way you rock my body lately. You set the rain on fire. I wish the lows were higher. Wish I could stop to save me. Oh, I wanna stay, wanna walk out the door. Oh, no. Right now, baby, I'm torn. I can't get enough, can't take anymore. Oh, no. Right now, baby, I'm torn. You dry my tears and make it pour. You show me love and give me more. I can't get enough, can't take anymore. Oh, no. Right now, baby, I'm torn. I always wanna run away, but then I'll crawl into your arms. It's like we're starting drama every day, but you know that's my favorite part. You're contagious, baby. Love when you love me, hate me. The way you rock my body lately. You set the rain on fire. I wish the lows were higher. Wish I could stop to save me. Oh, I wanna stay, wanna walk out the door. Oh, no. Right now, baby, I'm torn. I can't get enough, can't take anymore. Oh, no. Right now, baby, I'm torn.
Okay.
You dry my tears.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. This gives me so much insight as to exactly who I'm talking to. You know, most speakers and trainers and educators, they just kind of do their thing. And whoever gets it, gets it. I take this all in. In fact, even after the session, I'm going to take it in with my team, and we will start to adjust some of the things that we're going to do this week, because that's the magic here at Industry Rockstar is we want to custom tailor all of the group experiences. And you might be saying, how can you do that with, 100 people or 500 people or 1,000 people? That's the magic of our company. That's why we've been so successful, is that we understand how to run very large trainings and have every single person have massive breakthroughs. So very good. Thank you for that. Let's do one more thing, and then I'm going to take a quick break with you that I want to actually just make sure you are connected to. So it turns out there are certain ways that you can differentiate yourself. And what I want to talk about now as a pivot is how you can differentiate yourself. You can write this down. Differentiation is a key to success. Differentiation is a key to success. And many of you now, as I understand from the polls, you're newer to business. Either you haven't launched yet, or you're just starting, or you just started this last year, or you've only been in business a couple of years. And so one of the biggest challenges for you is, how are you different? How are you special? How are you unique? Is that a challenge for anybody to be able to understand? Does anybody here feel like there's just so many people out there doing so many of the same things? And you think, well, how am I going to be able to command high rates, or how would I be able to command a lot of money with what I'm doing? I just want to understand, how do I just get my first customer or client, Kane? How many of you feel a little bit like that? Like there's a lot of people, a lot of competition, or a lot going on out there. Okay, so if you have not felt that yet, you will when you start to go out and sell. You see, those of you that haven't been actively lead generating, running ads online, or going out to partners to say, hey, will you promote my webinar? And they say, well, why is this different to this other young lady that came to me last week? Or you're talking to customers and clients and they say, well, how come why are you so expensive? Maybe I could find this cheaper down the street with somebody else, right? If you've ever had those experiences, what I'm going to be teaching you this week is going to solve those things, because you're going to become the only logical solution for people to choose when you utilize these techniques. So if you think about your business propped up on pillars, there are 5 pillars that we're going to help you accelerate in. And, Jesse, thank you. Jesse says, Kane, you're spot on. I appreciate that. Look, and I appreciate that. And just so you understand, Jesse and everybody listening, I have literally, I know it's a big number for you guys to consume, but I literally have talked to hundreds of business owners every single month for the last 15 years, hearing all the problems that they have and helping them solve them strategically. So, I would almost be concerned if I wasn't spot on at this point. And so the cool news for you is that we've got all the answers already worked out and templated out for you. The great news is that it's not a gamble. It's not a guess. It's just a science. So there are 5 pillars that hold up your business. If you think about your business as like a house sitting up on 5 pillars. Now, Alessia, who you're going to meet this week, she's Roman, right? So think about Roman columns, okay? And if you think about it, there's 5 Roman columns. There's 5 columns that hold up the success of a business, and they're going to be areas that you can actually differentiate yourself on. So let me start to share those things with you. The first area that you can accelerate your business and that will hold up your business is in branding and packaging. Now, branding, as we started to talk about, is your identity as to who you are. And we're going to get into that deeper later this week. And some of you came through our challenge where you got into that even deeper than I normally do before, which is great. So we're going to keep diving. But packaging up is the way you put together your products, your services, or your technologies, and the way you send them out to the world. It is your ideas put into things like books, ebooks, CDs, DVDs, membership sites. It's which services and which products you're sending out to the world and how you're packaging them up and pricing them. We've got a whole science behind that, because the way you package and price yourself can be one of your main differentiators. Now, many of you came to the Wisdom Business course with me. How many of you came to the Wisdom Business course? And you were in that with me where we were talking about how to launch a wisdom business? Awesome. So you probably love to give advice, right? So who here is in a business where you want to package up your advice and sell that to the world? How many of you are in that type of business, or you'd like to be doing that, consulting, coaching, that kind of thing? Okay, great. If you'd like to give advice, just raise your hand so I know who likes to give advice. Good, because we're going to show you. So if you're a woman, if you're not raising your hand, you're lying. Okay. All right. In the meantime, you're going to learn how to be packaging up your advice as well this week on top of your ideas and sending them out to the world. That's the first pillar. The second pillar that you need to learn the techniques on that hold up your business is being able to build communities. And building a community is how we start to bring together the people that are looking at your offerings. So if you're newer to business, if you're just getting started, your question right now is, how do I build a community of people? And Kane, how do I do that with very little budgets? Because I know you have little budgets and you want to bring in a lot of that community. And I know the first thing you've been told is to get on social media and do all sorts of social media. Okay, there's some good value to that. We're going to talk about that later this week. I'm going to give you the underlying mechanics that will always make your social media channels grow. Because if you're posting and posting and posting and very little's happening, I can tell you exactly why, no matter who you are, and I'll show you that. But I'm going to show you some better techniques than that, because you know what? Everybody will tell you that organic growth on social media is slow. So there are great techniques to build your communities, and I'm going to share that with you this week. But that's one of the things that you need to start to think about. Hey, am I good at building communities? Who here would love to learn how to build your community better of clients and customers? Okay, awesome. Plus, I'm going to teach you something that's going to be very powerful. We're going to talk about sales as well, as we did a little bit already in the challenge, if you came through that. And what you're going to learn is that what I specialize in is taking a small group of people and turning them to a large amount of money. So you don't have to have 1 million followers, 2 million, 3 million followers. Hey, we have about 10,000 followers on channels. and we do 8 figures a year. How are they doing that? Well, there's alternatives to that. And I'll show you the ways that you can do that. And then if you want to play the social media game, that's up to you. You can do that. I can tell you, by the way, about how many people that you follow on social media that have bots and fake stuff and have bought followers and used all these techniques to make everybody feel like they have so many followers. I'm going to show you how to get real customers, because nothing matters more to your business than real people that care about you and that you care about and that become real customers. Who would agree with that? That all that's important is actually finding the real people in the world to serve. And I'm going to show you how to do that out of a small pool of people and then be able to sequence your sales activities so that they're going to buy from you. The third way to differentiate your company is through your partnership strategies and leveraging all of the talents that you have in yourself. And so that's that word leverage. As it turns out, 70% of your talents, 70% of your network, 70% of everything that you are and that you have around you is not being utilized. It's underutilized. Now, about a year and a half ago, at this point, we were with Tony Robbins. We ran an event for him in Tel Aviv. We didn't get invited to speak. We ran the event for Tony. We invited him to the event. Then we spoke on stage with him. We co-organized it with partners of ours in Israel and then again in Dubai. We were the first group to bring Tony to the Middle East. That was very exciting. And I met Tony about 12 years ago. I was speaking around the world. We met on stages. We got a chance to talk backstage. We had a nice connection together and we exchanged cards and we started doing events together. I'd be invited to come out and speak at his, mastery stages and his leadership mastery and business mastery and things like that. And then we started running and co-organizing events for Tony in areas that he had never been in. And I'll tell you that about 10 years ago, I said to Tony, having lunch with him one day, I said, tell me something that I could share with our students all over the planet. Because I see 60,000 business owners a year. Now I see them online, but prior to this, I would see them offline. I'd shake their hands and see their eyes and squeeze their arms and hug them and say hello. And he says to me, could have said anything. He said, tell people they undervalue themselves. Couldn't be more right. You undervalue yourselves. In 2019, when I saw Tony again, and I said, Tony, great to see you again. Again, the question I always ask you, I said, what do people need to hear right now in 2019? This was pre-pandemic. He says, tell women they undervalue themselves. That's what he said. Could have said anything, right? Ladies and gentlemen, this year is about leveraging everything you've got going on. You know those businesses that come by and they collect all your junk and they go and they sell it on eBay and they make a ton of money? Well, just imagine that that's what's going on in your head and in your world, that you've got so much stuff that's under leveraged. And we're going to start connecting those dots together. Now, let's look at automation. That's the other side of that pillar, automation. Today, you can be automating almost everything that's going on in your business. Your reminders, lead generation, even your sales process, your webinars, your calendar links, your podcast registrations. You can be automating so much of your business. A friend of mine, John Assaraf, maybe you know him. He's from the movie The Secret. Anybody know John Assaraf from the movie The Secret? Right? He's also one of the world's leading neuroscientists in the world. Well, I was talking to him a couple weeks back because we've become very close friends over the last couple of years. And John said, most of my business is automated. I have leads that are pouring into my webinars and seminars, and they're going through, sales pages and they're buying my stuff. And I sit at home and do almost nothing, and I'm making millions a year doing that. I said, because you're leveraged and you're automated, John. So he said, this week, when you talk to your fine students in Asia, remind them that they must be paying attention to automation. It's been going on for over a decade. And if you have not been automating lead generation and sales, this year is the year to understand that and to allow yourself to have less work and more security by automating the systems of people coming through your business. Who here needs to do a lot more automation for what you're doing in your companies? And you'd like to be able to have leads pouring in and making money essentially while you're sleeping. Awesome. We're going to be talking about that this week as well. I'm going to be taking you through how we do that, and you will love it. The fourth main pillar that holds everything up is this profit speaking. Now, I've been teaching, presenting, and speaking in Asia for almost a decade. And I know that the first thing that my students say, native Asian students always say is, I'm so shy. I don't want to be in front of people. I don't like to put my hand up. I don't want to be speaking in front of people. I don't like to be seen. Or I understand. I've been doing that. And it's actually not just Asia. People always say, oh, that's Asian. No, it's not. It's people across the world. It's Swedes. It's New Zealanders. It's Finnish. It's Europeans. I mean, it's all over the place. It's anybody who's shy or whatever. The point is that today you have to become capable, not comfortable, but capable of being able to share a message powerfully with people in the world, whether it's through your podcasts, whether it's through your webinars, your challenges, summits, or whether it is through interviews or videos that you're going to create. Because today, if you want to go back to social media, you know that all of the biggest engagement channels are all videos. How many of you have seen that? Instagram, Facebook, right? You know what Clubhouse is? Clubhouse is going to slowly become one of the biggest social media apps in history. If you don't know what it is, it's essentially like having a whole conference center of rooms going on all the time, and you can join in anytime to be a speaker or a moderator. That means that your ability to communicate powerfully is becoming more and more important than ever. Now, because I knew that on average, the culture in Asia was a little bit shy of presenting and speaking, I used to kind of downplay this, say, well, it's okay. You don't have to. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. If you're not becoming comfortable and having some formats for you to be able to just communicate your message, you're going to fall behind this year. So now it's time to start learning how to communicate yourself, not worrying about, are you doing it right? But do you have a format or a template that has a science behind it? Who here would love the science of communication so that when you share, people take action? It's not because you're brilliant or you're Les Brown or you're good, but it's because you have a science. How many of you would love that? The science behind language. Great. Please write this down. Language creates everything. Language creates everything. Now, when I was 19 years old, I got plucked and taken into a personal development company. That was one of the biggest personal development companies in the world, 100 million plus a year personal development company. And one of the first things they said to us is that language creates everything in your life. It creates everything you have. It creates everything you create. It is the tool that will give you everything you want in your world. Language. Who here would believe that language creates everything? It is the thing that will give you the opportunity to have power and influence in the world. Great. There's a whole science behind it. And I've spent over 20 years understanding that science. And what I do when I mentor our students this week and beyond is I train them in the language patterns. Look, this week, if at any moment you start to say, why is he telling us this? Or what's the difference? Or I already know this. Stop paying attention to what I'm talking about and start paying attention to how I'm saying it. I'm one of the most highly trained experts in the world at delivering influential material. And that is because I have spent the time studying and integrating the language patterns. So just write down my language patterns. Write down what I say, as I will continue to be gifting you these things the more and more we work together. The very last pillar that will accelerate your business and that will help you differentiate yourself is the way you lead and the way you influence your teams and the marketplace. Leadership, which I understand and I have for a long time, that leadership is not something that's easily understood or trained throughout the Asian territories. And I don't mean that judgmentally. There's a lot of things that different cultures are strong at. But I have many students, many mentorship students that I work with in Asia who are running leadership corporations and leadership companies. Some of them are expats, some of them are natives. And they'll tell you the very first thing that everybody says is it's very difficult to hire good people. How many of you would agree with that? It's difficult to hire good people in your companies. Okay, great. And so what I want to have you understand is you don't hire great leaders. You build them. You see, whenever a business owner says to me it's hard to hire somebody, the first thing I say to them is you've never been trained in how to lead teams, because every great leader knows it's not about hiring great people. It's about building great people. Entrepreneurs are made. They're not born. Leaders are made. They're not born. Anybody can create or create themselves as an entrepreneur, as a leader. And so as we train you in leadership principles, you're going to become not only influential, but you're going to become inspirational, and you're going to actually become capable of arranging teams around you of people that are excited to get on your mission with you and excited to grow and engage with you, so you don't have to be the only one running your business. Who here feels like you have to make all the decisions? You have to do everything yourself because you have to take all the risks. You have to make all the decisions. You have to figure out everything yourself. How many of you feel like that these days? Just raise your hand if you feel like that. Awesome. We need to change that, because the smartest entrepreneurs in the world, they have mentors, advisors, they're in masterminds, they have teams that are doing things for them. They're not busy. Busy is for employees. Leveraged is for the wealthy. Okay? So here's what I want to do. I hope how many of you are getting some good value out of this so far? We're just getting warmed up and getting started, but how many of you are getting some good golden nuggets? Awesome. Starting to let you in a little bit about how we think and how we start to put together the concepts that we will then start to deepen and get specific on throughout this week. I'd like us to take a quick 10-minute break. Let's just take a quick 10-minute break. When I come back, I'm going to be sharing with you the way you can connect with your clients and how to pivot that and I'll share with you a technique that you can use to make sure you're connecting with the marketplaces better than you ever have. Let's take a quick 10-minute break. It's 35 past the hour right now. Let's come back at 45 past the hour, that is, wherever you are in the world. I will see you back in your seats then, and we will continue to go along here, getting ourselves warmed up for the week and having a great time looking at where all the opportunity is in the world to shift your business. See you in 10 minutes, everybody.
Let's go. Make no excuses now. I'm talking here and now. I'm talking here and now. Let's go. Your time is running out. I'm talking here and now. I'm talking here and now. It's not about what you've done. It's about what you're doing. It's all about where you're going, no matter where you've been. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Ooh, let's go. There is no better time. I'm talking here and now. I'm talking here and now. Let's go. Your time is running out. I'm talking here and now. I'm talking here and now.
Jonathan from Singapore. I just attended Kane's intensive rockstar training, and over lunch, I made a call to my client, and guess what? I closed a $50,000 deal. All right, that's $50,000, and you know what? I'm so excited. I'm so excited, and you have to come here. You have to attend it, and you have to break through. You have to break through, and this is what I get. Thanks.
My name is Maria Elizabeth. I am Internet Marketing Trainer in Singapore. Right now, I'm attending Industry Rockstar Intensive by Kane in Singapore. We just had a quick lunch break, and I just closed $4,000 in sales using the techniques that they teach, and I get a lot more ideas to take my business to the next level.
Hello everyone, my name is Joy Chua. I've just attended the Industry Rockstar Intensive Singapore, so I'm very happy to be here. I think I've learned so much from Kane. What he has taught has totally changed my mind on how business is and what I can do for my business. So yeah, I think I can achieve a lot more.
Hi, my name is Rain Liu. I'm a coach, consultant, and speaker, and I'm originally from Seremban, which is 45 minutes out of KL in Malaysia. And since I started working with Kane, I not just started my business, but I landed my first $2,000 client right off the bat 4 months into working with them. The results I've received are astounding. I'm building my business slowly but steadily. I cannot thank them personally enough, and I will be forever grateful for everything they have done for me.
Hi Singapore, Shalani here. I was born in Singapore. I now live in Sydney, Australia. A few months ago, my husband dragged me, and I say dragged me with a very long face, to a Kane seminar. That seminar changed our lives. Within that weekend, before it was over, we had increased our sales 200%. Today, we are the #1 husband and wife health creation team, transforming lives with laughter and joy. People's lives, we change people's lives every day, and we can do that and can be #1 thanks to Kane. Their seminar teaches you tips and gives you information that transcends all countries, all languages. Whatever your business, you can use what Kane have to offer. I am a business dummy, and now I absolutely thrive. My husband can't believe it's the same woman. I thrive on what we have learned, and I'm so invigorated putting everything that Kane has taught us into practice. So thank you to Kane for transforming our lives so we can transform others' lives.
Hello, my name is Bennett Wong. From Hong Kong originally. I run workshops in Hong Kong and Australia. I've just finished Kane's masterclass, and I can't say enough about it. The skills they have in it that you'll learn is phenomenal. and it's so practical. It'll force you into the world to take action. That they'll get you to get clients. These guys are the most aware in the success coaching area. That's why I went with them. They've got the soul. I love you guys.
Hi, my name is Nazrul Idrus. This weekend I came down here because I thought about creating another business with my wife, who's really good in fashion and makeover. So we created something really new this weekend, which is image makeover expert. So what happened at lunchtime, it was crazy because Kane gave us an assignment, which is to sell our program. I love challenges, and I created a program and I called certain people, and what happened was I got locked into a corporate program. Someone saying that yes, we were looking for image makeover experts that can teach their top executives, and potentially we are landing, here it is, about $12,000 or more. We're locking in at $25,000, but probably at $12,000 to $25,000 in revenue because they want to listen to us. So you know what? I love this just because Kane actually pushed us. And I have been to many programs all over the world and spent thousands, hundreds and thousands of dollars. And this is the most practical, most up-to-date, most fun, youthful, and most powerful information given within just 3 days.
Hey, hi everybody. I'm Samir Shah. Basically, I'm from India but working in Singapore. I'm working as an IT security consultant, a boring job which I really want to quit. This is where I attended Kane's seminar, intensive, Rockstar Intensive. These guys are really fabulous. The Rockstar formula which they have is so scalable. It can be used across the globe, across the niche area. After coming to the seminar, I unleashed my inner hidden talents, and is where in just 1.5 days, I cracked a 7,000 deal, which is like more than a salary which I'm currently earning. So yes, I already got an option to quit this job and just explore my world and get into the world of business and be a rock star. You guys are brilliant.
Hi, I'm Cash from Bismarja. I'm origin from Malaysia, but I'm a Singapore PR now. I came for Rockstar training, and during lunch, I secured a $1 million deal. And if this by sale of a listed company, I also have another project from KL for bulk sales, and I thank JK for giving this opportunity. I think anybody who come for this training will get this network or some educational benefits if they come for this training.
Hi everybody, my name is Mihir Thakur and I'm a business consultant and a coach. Thank you, Kane. It's been the most amazing 6 months of my life. I never thought this would be so life-changing in so many ways. The biggest areas of impact were definitely financial. I got more than $30,000 in contracts, and now I'm able to approach clients, or other clients are approaching me through referrals, word of mouth, and they're willing to pay like 10 times higher rate than what I used to charge. It's been a beautiful experience.
Hi everybody, I'm Roy Tay from the Singapore Rockstar Intensive. Before coming to this course, I didn't even realize what is it that I want to get out of this course and what I can get out of Jeff and Kane. But after this intensive morning on the last day here, I actually managed to close an $8,000 deal just over these few days learning. And it's all thanks to Jeff and Kane. I really love you guys for it, and you made me be able to sell so much better and to provide so much more value and not to underrate myself in what I do. Thank you, Jeff and Kane.
Hello, my name is Sunny Lau. I'm from KL. I've just finished attending the Rockstar Intensive with Kane, and I've just made over 100,000 ringgit Malaysia. I can't believe it. I'm actually running a public program, a marketing public program for Brief Academy's solution focus coaches. And this is my first time doing it, and I'm applying exactly what Kane has just taught me. And I tell you, it really blew my mind that I really achieved an amazing result, and this is my first time. Thank you very much.
Hello, hi. I'm Nur Azlan Firdaus bin Muhammad. I'm from Young Dynamic Club. I'm doing forex investment. Yeah, today I'm learning in Industry Rockstar Intensive from Jeff and Kane. It's freaking out some seminar. I will tell you. Really, I just closed a deal for 500,000 RM. for my business, and I never did it before. Just about 24 hours, actually lesser than that.
White lights blurring the darkness. This road leads where your heart is. These signs, something we can't ignore. No, we can't back down. We'll never let them change us. We're
Hey, welcome back. Okay, come on and flip on your cameras. Let's get settled back in together and get connected for this next session. Hope you had a nice little recharge there on a little break. Come on back and throw on your cameras. Let's get connected and let's get focused for our next session here, because I'm going to be taking you into a pivot way that you can connect more deeply with your clients. So let's talk a little bit about connection and nurturing. Now, we're going to get into digital marketing this week, and I'm going to be teaching you the absolute coolest, latest, and the greatest around digital marketing, social media, and so forth. And one of the things that you're going to actually notice is that whether you're posting to social media to build your brand, or whether you are utilizing emails or partnerships, whatever you're doing to build your brand. In fact, I've done over 330 interviews, as I've mentioned before, and the interesting things that they always ask us about, one of the questions that they always ask me, they'll always ask me different questions. You know, I've interviewed Channel News Asia and all over Singapore and all over Hong Kong and all over Asia. And they always ask me all sorts of different questions. You know, what's success? Today I got interviewed by a group in India that has like 2 million subscribers in their list. It was huge. And we were doing a live show, and, you know, they asked me 3 keys for success and this and that. But one question they all ask me, all of them, they all ask me is, what's your story? How did you get here? And so what I want you to write down is that today, people want to connect personally with you, and they want to connect to emotional conversations. They want to connect to topics that really are more of the human side of things. In fact, Corey today was running, and she'll be on here shortly here. Corey, our CEO and head of Rock Your Product, she was actually running a Facebook Live with one of her co-writing partners for her new book that she's launching through Simon & Schuster, which is a huge launch all over the world, and she'll rock it. She's going to teach people about launching product businesses and how to use products to make more money in their service businesses. She's hands down one of the world's gurus, which is why Kevin Harrington has partnered with her and all that. In the meantime, the thing that we're talking about today, actually, on this Facebook Live, even though they're gurus in physical products, is more about mental health and actually being able to be powerful in a mentally healthful state today, because people want to talk about things that are personal and engaging. And so many business owners are constantly trying to be smart or do things that say, oh, I can show my expertise and that. But in fact, they really want to connect with you in a few different ways. Now, there's nothing wrong with showing your expertise, of course. And if you go to our social media channels, which I would recommend every one of you, go to our Instagram, go to our Facebook, connect, follow us. So you can see what we're doing, so you can always see, because we're always getting advised by the world's the greatest YouTube specialists, the greatest Instagram specialists, the greatest Facebook specialists. We're constantly investing money in them so that we can bring them back to our students. But one simple way to understand is to just follow us on the social media channels. So that would be one of your homeworks today, is just go find us. Look up Kane and Alessia, or look up Kane Minkus or Leslie Minkus. Look up, start at the top, and just follow everything you can find on Industry Rockstar, because we're going to constantly be sharing that. But one of the things that you're going to need to share is your story. Your story. Would it be all right if I shared a little bit about how I got here while I continue to teach you ways that you can find more opportunities in the world? If that would be okay with you, can you just put a yes in the chat window, or just give me a thumbs up? I want to make sure that it's all right if I share a little bit about my personal journey and how I got here while I continue to teach you ways to find opportunities in the world. If that'd be okay, just say yes. Okay, great. Thank you. So today I have an amazing life and an amazing family, and I get a chance to do the things that I love the most. I get to teach and share, advise, and mentor business owners, along with my extraordinary wife, who, although she's gorgeous and hands down beautiful to me, mostly she is just the sharpest woman I have met on the planet. A woman who is just my counterpart in being able to think through everything in my life. All day long today was Sunday. We were with the kids. We took them out to parks, and while they played, we got to discuss how we could make this event strategically more powerful, and the content. I just, my life, I can't share enough great things about it. And this is my wife, Alessia, and you'll get a chance to meet her. And together we're a team. What we do these days is we travel all over the world. And right now we do travel all over the world via Zoom. And we train business owners all over the planet. This was an event that we did in Singapore, and we've been all the way through Asia for years together, training and sharing our systems with Asian entrepreneurs and expats to help them be able to make a bigger difference and a bigger impact in their industries. Doing 8 figures a year in this company, not only being able to take care of our families and create massive wealth, but also be able to support and help. That is our lives today. It's been extraordinary. And of course, I met Alessia 9 years ago. And when I met her, she didn't even speak any English, but she was committed to actually being a force of nature, being an impact, and standing for women being unstoppable in the world. Today, she's one of the highest paid women speakers. And although this last year, she's actually decided to step back a little bit and really focus on making sure the children had the support that they needed while all the schools were closed. She has become one of the most sought after woman speakers on the planet for entrepreneurship, sharing the stages and interviewing people with Richard Branson at our conferences, being invited to come to the Tony Robbins events. And that's our life now. It's extraordinary. And I share that with you so that you can discover where you might want to be talking about yourself in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, with a sense of pride and accomplishment for what you have done. We have 3 children. I'll explain why there's only 2 in the picture in just a moment. But I have a son from a previous marriage. He's the gentleman on my lap there, and he's totally brilliant. We have he's 11 years old now, and we have a daughter who's 6 years old now. That's our daughter there with Alessia and I. Her name is Rania, and we named her after the Queen of Jordan because the Queen of Jordan was instrumental in children and women's rights in the Middle East, and Rania actually means queen. So we named this girl Queen, which I had no idea what trouble I was getting into by naming her Queen, but she is trouble. And here she was at 3 years old, in fact. I should probably get some new pictures up here where she was already ready to perform. And she's been a performer, a dancer, an ice skater, a snow skier. Absolutely brilliant. She speaks 3 languages. And my son also speaks 3 other languages. In fact, in our house, we speak 6 languages. So to us, internationalization is not a concept. It's a family way of life. My son is 11. He's all boy, loves outdoor sports. He's a bit quieter than his younger sister. But together, as a family, we have lived all over the world. And in fact, we live part of the year in the west coast of the States. We live part of the year, the summers, in Sardinia, an island off the coast of Italy, because Alessia is Roman. And we live the other part of the year in the Caribbean, where we enjoy the winters that are normally snowy and cold. We get a chance to escape to the gorgeous weather. And that's how our life goes. We rotate between the 3, and the children come along. Sometimes they have tutors or they do things online. And about 20 months ago, we had this guy. And we added to the family. What a gorgeous group of children. I'm so grateful. Every night I go to sleep and I just have great gratitude for how extraordinary the kids are. Okay, that's my current life. But that's not how I started. I didn't start as an entrepreneur who was able to take care of 3 children in private schools, flying them around in business class to multi-million-dollar condos on the beaches. All that was not even close to what it is. How I actually started was completely broke and sleeping on a friend's couch, pretty much homeless. Let me take you back in time a little bit here as to where it started. Because although we have a magnificent, gorgeous, beautiful life, I had to go through something. I went through a journey, and that journey is the same journey that you will be taking. Maybe not every single step of the way, but it is the story and the steps that you will be going through in order to be achieving what you want. This is not a story about me. This is a story that you can learn from for yourself. So I started I grew up in the city of Chicago. I don't know if anybody has ever been to Chicago. I'm sure you know of the city. It's what I would consider one of the greatest cities in America. And I grew up in the city. And Chicagoans, if you don't know much about Chicagoans, as we call ourselves Chicagoans, we're known as very friendly people. So if you ever wonder if my friendliness or my sort of politeness or if this demeanor that I have is, if this is just a stage show or if that's how I really am, that's actually how I am exactly. I'm exactly like this on stage and off stage. In fact, many people used to always say to me, "You seem so normal." I was like, "Thanks. I think that's good." Because money doesn't need to change you. It doesn't need to change who you are. And so Chicagoans are known as very friendly. We're very close to Canada, and you probably know Canadians are the friendliest people on the planet. And I grew up in a family where I grew up in a very traditional family. Now, I also grew up in a very unusual circumstance. Today, I share the stages with Les Brown and Tony Robbins. In fact, Les Brown is a mentor here at Industry Rockstar. He mentors our students. He teaches them some of the speaking and storytelling classes in our mentorship program. Kevin Harrington and, Randy Zuckerberg and, Richard Branson and Tony Robbins. And many of these people have had stories where they started out completely poor. They came from completely poor backgrounds and they did extraordinary things, which caused them to have very, very big transformations in their lives. And I love those stories and they're amazing. That's not my story. My story is quite different. I actually came from a very wealthy family. My father was a chief financial officer of a multi-international, $500 million company. But I grew up in a family where it was very traditional, and my parents were both employees. They knew nothing about entrepreneurship, and they were terrified of it. And I noticed something very early on because I was the youngest of 3 kids. And I noticed that although my father made a lot of money and we had a very big house growing up, 6,000 square feet and 7 or 8 bedrooms. And, we had, house cleaners and things and all sorts of help, which I know for Asia is very normal, but for Americans, that's not. It's very unusual. We drove Corvettes and, fancy cars when I was a teenager. I noticed something very early on, and that was that he was never really fulfilled. He was never really happy. He was always unhappy, no matter how much money he made. And so very early, I learned something very unusual, which most people who train you and teach you and mentor you on this planet have come from a totally different background. They've come from a background of complete lack of abundance. They've come from a background of absolutely nothing. And it's not a judgment. It's a very different background of coming from something totally different and completely connecting from it. There was never a drive or a passion for me around money. Do we like to create money? Sure. Does it give us great choices? Yeah. Do we like it? No problem. But it's not a driver. It has never been an identity to say, when I'm rich or wealthy, that I will finally have become somebody. And I notice this is a very big difference in the way we mentor our students. We come from a very different place, and we take them from chasing money into actually building something of deep richness in their souls, of something they're proud of. What drove me was pride. Building something that could make a difference, not making money. I've been a millionaire since I was 22 years old. I started making $1 million in my first business at 22. It never made a difference. What made a difference to me is how I could contribute and what I could be proud of creating and bringing out to the world. In fact, I've destroyed companies or gotten rid of companies that were not inside of that, even though they were throwing off tremendous amounts of cash. And so if you want a mentor or a team that is completely focused on building something that you're proud of in your life, that you can look at your children and say, this is what I did and this is how I got here. Because I'll tell you, you will never know the stories that I know about the people that run around this planet and sell their programs and their mentorship programs. If I ever wrote a book on that, I'd probably get hunted down. Just be very careful about who you listen to and who you take advice from. But here's what happened. My father used to say to me that if I wanted to be successful, I had to go to school and I had to get good grades and I had to go and get my degrees. I grew up in a Jewish family as well. In a Jewish family, you only get 3 professions to choose from. You either become a doctor or a lawyer or like a banker, right? That's it. You only get 3 professions to choose from. Maybe you understand that one. But I had a different plan. I loved music. And by 5 years old, I fell in love with playing piano. And here I was literally at 5 years old and 7 years old playing piano. And I absolutely loved music. And I just found it filled up my soul. Does anybody here love music? Anybody love music here or love the arts or anything like that? Awesome. Thank you for the hands of the yeses. Well, it filled up my soul. And what I thought early on is I don't think life's about money. I think life's about having fun and having a great time. Because we're only on this planet for a short amount of time. Let's have a great time. Let's also make a lot of money. But that's going to be part of the fun. The fun is making the money. It's not the driver. And so I want to have fun. I want to do music. But my dad said to me, there's no money in music. There's no money in that. And basically, I grew up in a family where they said, you can't just do what you're passionate about and make money. He didn't understand that at all. He said, no way. There's no way that you can just do what you love to do and make money. It doesn't happen. And I'd say, but there are people that make money in music. And he'd say, like whom? And I'd say, I don't know, Phil Collins, Madonna, Peter Gabriel, right? Sting. I mean, these were my heroes in music. And he would always say, they got lucky. And so I didn't know what it was in me, but I had this desire to prove that wrong. I didn't believe that because I could see somebody who was giving me advice who didn't have what I wanted. Please note this or write this down. Never take advice from anybody that doesn't have what you want. If you want a balanced, beautiful act, these people that come out and they tell you how you're going to live your life and they have no children and no wives and no life and no this and no business and they haven't done anything and they want to tell everybody how to live their lives. I'm saying, look, I like to work with people that have balance, that have love, that have compassion, have appreciation, that have respect, that have pride, and that have money. That's who I like to listen to. Well, I didn't see that in my dad. Although he made a lot of money, he didn't have the rest. So I kept going with the music thing. And by about 13 years old, I was performing and touring all over. And by the time I was a teenager, I started working with big artists, and I ended up becoming a producer at Sony Music, working in the artist development division at Sony Music and helping on records and working with people like Mariah Carey, Joe Satriani, and ending up later on working with Beyonce and Santana and working on all these great records. But at 20 years old, Napster came along, and I was in New York. I was working for Sony Music, 550 Madison in New York City, and Napster came along. Now, Most of you will remember Napster. If you're under 30 years old in the room here, you probably don't know Napster, right? But Napster came along, and it was the first time we were sharing files. Do you guys remember that? You remember when we started sharing files for the first time? We were sending people music, and we said, oh, you can download this, go on here, and you can download it. Remember all that? Yeah, you do. And all those guilty smiles. Well, that collapsed the record industry, and record stores went out of business, right? Is anybody under 30 years old here? Anybody under 30 years old here? Anybody? Anybody under 30 years old? Okay. No, we always have one. No? Okay, that's good. I was going to say, do you even know what a record store is? Remember the old record stores? Well, everybody went out of business, and Sony stopped paying all the record producers. And so there I was living in New York, between Boston and New York. I was going to school in Boston, going back and forth to New York and working, and they stopped paying us, and I started going into debt. At some point, I arrived at basically $40,000 in debt. I had maxed out my credit cards. I had no money left. I didn't know how I was going to eat or anything, and I decided I needed to take action. So I called up a friend in San Francisco, California. His name was Nick, and we went to school together at Berkeley School of Music. And I said, Nick, why don't we start our own business? And he says, sounds like a great idea. He says, have you ever had your own business? I said, no. But I said, how hard can this be? We do all the work for Sony. We're not getting paid. He said, good idea. Move out to San Francisco. You can sleep on my couch, and we'll start a music business. So I rented a truck. I packed up all my stuff from Boston and New York, and I moved out to San Francisco, and I started sleeping on a couch. And that was the couch I was sleeping on when we started our first music business. And that was actually the office. Now, this picture was actually taken many years later, but that was the couch, and that was the office where we started our music business. In this room, we started doing everything we could do to build our first music business. And we worked really hard. We got busy, and we were doing everything we thought we should do with no training, no background at all, but we thought we're going to hustle it. We're smart. We're talented. We're good at what we do. We're smart. We came from good backgrounds. This should be easy, right? We worked on it for 6 months. Anybody want to guess what happened in 6 months? Nothing happened. Zero. Nothing. We had a logo and a website, and that was it. Nothing happened. In the meantime, Nick comes walking into our office 6 months in, and he says, hey. I said, what? He says, my girlfriend's pregnant. And I said, hey. He says, what? I said, I had nothing to do with that. He says, I know. I said, so what are you telling me for? He says, I got 6 more months, and then I got to get a job. I've got a baby coming. Well, I decided that something had to change. And, I don't know why, as men, we need to hit rock bottom, sleeping on a couch, totally out of money, or something we just have to hit the rockiest bottom before we ask for help. But I realized I needed help. Now, who came here this week because you know that in your business, you need help? That's why you came here. Just put them up, raise them up if you know you need help. That's why you came here this week. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, let's hope that you don't have to be as dense or as dull or as thick-headed as I was, that you have to wait until it's really, really bad. Some of you, you're already there, and I'm sorry for that. But others of you, it's time to ask for the help that you want. Now, I love this saying by Les Brown. When I met him years ago, I met Les about 9 years ago. We were speaking at the same conference, and he came up just after me, and he says, don't ask for help because you're weak. He says, you ask for help because you want to remain strong. And that just hit me right in the heart. And I realized that we need to ask for help to be stronger. That's how we are. So I picked up the phone and I called a friend and I said, who do you think could help me make a successful business? And he says, I've got a friend for you that I know that you should know. And his name was Bob Proctor. And Bob, at that time, was not nearly as famous as he is now. He's from the movie The Secret. Maybe you know who he is, maybe you don't. But he's considered one of the godfathers of coaching and mentoring. And Bob said to me, he said, look, a mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability within you than you see in yourself. And they help bring it out of you. But he also said this, and he said, Kane, write this down. And I want you to consider this when I tell this to you. He said, entrepreneurs don't see the world for as it is. They see it for as it can be. And when he said that to me, it all became clear. I understood why my father didn't understand entrepreneurship. He wasn't an entrepreneur. I always saw where I was headed, but he only saw where I was. Now, when I talk to you and when I interact with you, when our team interacts with you, when Corey, when Alessia, when Kevin, or any of the Kevins, we have 3 Kevins at our company, Kevin Harrington, Kevin Pates, Kevin Bees, when you talk to any of the people at our company, they are not going to see you for as you are. We will see you for as you can be. Now, I've done this millions of times with people, and I understand where you could be when you take this seriously. I will only talk to you as your future self, who is a 6, 7, or 8-figure business owner, and I will guide you and mentor you from that place, not from the place that you are, but from the place you can be. That changes the game entirely. So it really changed the way I thought about things. And just by changing the way you think about things, you can change your results, because when you change the way you look at things, the old saying goes, the way you look at things change. The things that you look at change. And so I started investing in mentors. And this was new, and my parents thought I was crazy. Your friends, your family, they might think you're crazy for taking on mentors, advisors, coaches, consultants. But that is literally the key to a business, is to have great people surrounding you. And this week we are here to seek out only 20. We'll only take 20 students. And the reason is because this is the last time that I will ever personally take on students from a program. As I've been doing this for over a decade, this is the last time. And the reason it is because we're moving into other divisions and launching new businesses and are wrapped up in new investments. We're on the boards of different companies. I will only be able to take 20 because I will work with you personally. And so mentors changed my life. And these were the mentors that I invested in my 20s. In my 20s, I had over a dozen mentors, and I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. But you know what? They helped me create tens of millions and hundreds of millions over the years. And I realized that your investment in yourself through a mentor is the best investment you can make. Well, this top gentleman on the left here, right here, Brian and his mother, Mary Jo, they were my first mentors in my media company with Nick. And they helped me within 4 years create the 5th largest media company in the world called Somatone. We ended up becoming the largest production company on the planet for soundtracks, for video games and animation, for multimedia. We did so many projects a year. We were up to almost 300 projects a year, and the next competitor down from us was doing 30 projects a year. We were 10 times the second competitor in our industry. I ended up working with Spielberg, with George Lucas. I ended up working with Robert Zemeckis. I worked on the film The Last Samurai, if anybody saw that film. I worked on the movie The Polar Express. And we worked on the sound effects, the soundtracks, the music, the audio, the voiceover, the recordings. Everything had a little bit of a different thing that we were working on. And then we got passed off to George Lucas and LucasArts and Disney. And we started working on over 300 video games a year with them, continuing to have fun doing the things we love to do. We won over 25 industry awards, and we generated tens of millions in that company. And I'll never forget when my dad called me up. I was about 23, 24 years old. He says, "How you doing?" And I said, "Good, we're going to be making millions this year." And he says, "Oh, I always knew it would work out for you." Right? I said, "I know. I love you too, Dad." But here's the fun thing. It wasn't really ever about the money. It was about the pride, right? As I've always said, I never really cared about the money. And so what I really, my favorite accomplishment out of all of that was essentially I went into Sony Music and I sold them on the idea of funding a trip to Germany, to a place called Potsdam, where we recorded an orchestra, because it was something I always wanted to do, but it's very expensive to record an orchestra. And so I always wanted to record an orchestra, but it can cost a couple $100,000 to do those recordings. And so I use the sales skills, the techniques, the branding, everything that I teach you during this week. I use that to really have one of the most fun, fully paid experiences of my life, where they invested $500,000 to send us to Potsdam, Germany, and record the East Berlin Orchestra and do 3 records, which we actually ended up winning a whole bunch of awards for the music that we put out into the industry. So I want you to write this down. Your business is going to be the vehicle for your dreams. Your business is going to be the vehicle for your dreams. That's what we're creating here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to create a vehicle here that's going to take you to your dreams. People who are trained by their parents or by employees, the way they think, they end up serving their businesses. There's a difference between being self-employed and owning a company. People who have learned as employees, or they've come the employee route, they start businesses that own them. People that understand or train or retrain with us, they own their businesses. It's a very big difference. And it's a subtle difference that right now you probably won't understand. You can shake your head, yes. But as we mentor you and we work with you, we will change bit by bit and deconstruct everything that you have constructed around the employee mindset. Employees are busy. They're often broke. They live paycheck to paycheck or money to money. They never create wealth, and they retire looking for the government to take care of them. Business owners learn how to create wealth their whole life, and they don't do it for themselves. The tens or hundreds of millions of dollars that I create in my businesses, it goes to my children so that they can have more freedom as well. I could care less about the money. I would still drive a piece of shit car. I never cared about the stuff. I cared about the ability to pass it along, which is why I do what I do with you. This is why while the family's having dinner, and why I'm here for 4 or 5 hours a night until midnight sharing with you, because it's my way of passing it along to you. But to pass it along effectively, we created a system. And I'm going to take you through that system here, which is called the Industry Rockstar Formula. Now, I've taught this to over 3 million people across the world, so you should be honored to receive it. And it is going to be the entry point, the doorway, the pathway, the stepping stones to how you sequence your efforts. This year, you're going to pivot the way you sequence your efforts, because I guarantee you have been sequencing them wrong. You have been doing things that are not creating the results, and part of that problem is in the way, the order that you're doing them. Today, we took our kids to a Japanese garden that they have here, which I'm sure cannot compare to a native Japanese garden, but it was beautiful, and it was lovely to see the culture. And we have a whole area that's staked out in the middle of the city here that's for the Japanese garden. Beautiful. It was very peaceful and gorgeous. And as we walked in, they had the stepping stones that went over the pond, and it reminded me of the sequences that we have created for our students over the years. The sequences that when they follow, money comes into their bank accounts, because it's not magic, it's a science. Let me share with you the 9 steps that you will follow with us this week as you engage significantly and seriously, as you take notes and you take it seriously. You will become the next entrepreneur in your family that nobody ever thought could create what you created. You will be the one in the society in Singapore and Hong Kong and Malaysia, wherever you're from, that people doubted, they didn't believe could do it. And all you did was you took the sequences seriously. That's all I did. Here we go. The first step to growing a successful business up to 7 figures, this is a 7-figure formula here, is finding your calling. For me, my calling was music. I absolutely loved it. Now, although I created 30 plus other companies afterwards, that was one of my first callings. You'll still find me singing today. In fact, at the end of the Tony Robbins event that we organized in Tel Aviv, you know what I did? I sang a song to close up to the event, because music is just in my bones. We live by a music museum here that says music is the language of the soul. So that was my calling. And Steve Jobs used to say this. When you are doing your calling, people that do their calling are always more successful than people that don't. So we need to make sure that you're doing your calling. Number 2, you need to be doing what you have talent with. Your talent, or what we call your genius, is going to make the difference. So many people work on things that are not their talents, not their geniuses. Maybe because there's money or there's opportunity, but the best opportunity is where you have massive talent. When you put these two things together, you solve one of the major problems in business, which is the problem of clarity. What should you be doing? That's what you should be doing. Your calling mixed with your talent. You put those two things together and you become an unstoppable force against your competitors, because most people are not doing that. They're not doing what they're called to do because their parents told them it wasn't cool. Their friends said that they could do it. Their religion told them it's not okay. Their culture said you shouldn't do that. Every major entrepreneur has told everybody else to go fuck themselves. That's how it works, because the world is not set up with entrepreneurs. The world is set up with people that are scared, that are worried. So you have to be able to stand in your space. There's a book that was written by a woman called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. I don't know if you ever read this book. It's a brilliant book, and I loved it. It was a woman who was a hospice worker. She helped people pass away. That was her job. She would comfort them as they were passing away in life. And she decided to do a research project where she interviewed, I think, about 600 or 700 of her clients. And she asked them the one question: what are your biggest regrets from life? And she categorized them so that we as the living could reorder our values in life and make sure that we live our life, a life worth living, a life worth having, so that when we get to their age, she was hoping just for a glimmer of light with this book. Her contribution on society would be that somebody would say, I read your book, and at the end of my life, I appreciated that you wrote that because I reordered my values and I lived a life worth living. Number one regret people had, number one regret human beings had, was that they lived their life the way somebody else said they should. Their mother, their father, their brother, their sister, their families, their culture, their religion, something. They chose to live it the way somebody else lived it. Number 2 regret is that they worked too much and they should have spent more time for themselves and with their kids. Now, I don't remember what the other 3 are. They're also profound, but those 2 stuck with me when I read that. And so it's been my life's work. Tony always says, I want to end suffering, right? I don't so much focus on that. If you want to end suffering, go to Tony. If you want to have a life at the end where you say, I did what I wanted to do, and I spent my time building wealth while having my time for myself and my family, then you are with exactly the right team. That is our obsession. From there, we get into step 3. where we start to get into the core business models of what's going to make your business successful. Look, it can't all be built on passion, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, but at some point you got to sit down and say, how are we going to make money at this company? And it's got to make sense. In fact, this is one of the things, these unicorns in Silicon Valley Clubhouse right now, they're not revealing what their monetization plan is. Nobody knows. And you know that the investors have funded them, but they're saying you better have had a planned business model. How are you going to make money? Because as much as it's a beautiful device, a beautiful app to connect everybody, people want to know how they're going to make money. From there, you need to understand what assets you need to build so that you can make that model work. Now, listen to this. Employees teach their children to go after cash. That's what they tell them. The idea of making more money is sexier to employee-based thinking. Oh, I want to make more money. I want to make more money. Business owners don't care about that. They actually care about building assets. Cash is a depreciating asset. This last week, I was teaching a CFO training to all of our mentorship students because most of them have never been trained to think like a CFO before. You probably have never been trained to think like a CFO. Those of you that come with us and we mentor you, you're going to get trained in every aspect of business. You will become a world-class business owner. And I don't use that term lightly. You will become a world-class business owner. You'll be ahead of 99% of the world in understanding how to run businesses. So we had to train them as a CFO. We made it fun. We talked about behavioral finance. We'll teach you that later down the road. But the point is that they started to understand that the value of their company is the most important thing they can put their attention on, not cash. Cash comes and goes. It's a part of the business. It's the blood of the business, but it's not the focus. People say to me all the time, I want to be like Tony Robbins. And I say, great. So they say, I got to do what Tony Robbins does, right? And I say, no, you got to build the assets that Tony Robbins has built, including his ability to speak and command an audience, including his partnerships and his brand. That's how you build a great business. You see, most business owners, they make the mistake. So they say, what's that business doing? Oh, they're doing it. I should do that. One of the worst things you can do. Counterintuitive. And it's just one of thousands of counterintuitive techniques we're going to make sure you understand. Well, when you have those two things done, you've solved your structure problem in your business because most business owners have never been taught how to structure up their businesses for success. From there, we look at building a brand. And we're going to be helping you understand how the best in the world brand themselves here and mentoring. From there, you'll be able to create a game for yourself that will inspire people. And I want you to write this down. Your mission will attract the biggest players in the world. You want to know what gets Elon's attention? You want to know what got me to get Richard Branson to come to our events? What got Tony Robbins to come to our events? You want to know what gets us to, talk? Corey this year was negotiating a deal. Well, last year was negotiating a deal with Oprah before the pandemic shut everything down. What gets them attentive? First thing Oprah said when they were looking at our events to see if she wanted to come join us for an event is, what's the mission? What's the mission of the game? What's the game of the company? What's the mission of the event? What's the mission of the company? Just write that down. Your mission will attract all the biggest players in the world. And so the question is, what is the mission that you're on? We'll talk more about this week because it's an important aspect that most people don't even think about. Those two things put together, your brand and your mission, will give you the powerful visibility in the world that you need because people will want to work with an established brand that has great mission and that is all creatable. Nobody was born with a big brand. Gucci didn't start as a big brand. Disney didn't start as a big brand. Apple didn't start as a big brand. It started in Steve's garage. It started with skepticism. It started with people yelling at each other, not knowing if it would work, and investing all their money. It started small, and it built big. You're small right now, and you will build big. Number 7, you're going to learn how to partner with people. Building partnerships, and you're going to learn to leverage other people's stuff. You know what? Why build a big Instagram following when you can partner with somebody who has it? I mean, I'm just saying. Nothing wrong with building one. Again, I don't want you to hear me poo-pooing social media. I'm just saying, what if instead of you having to spend the hours and the weeks and the months and the years doing it, what if you could partner with it? Why build a big database when you could partner with it? Well, this is what we did for many, 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 many years. And since my first goal is to make sure that you're making millions as fast as we can, you're actually not going to be looking at building your business. You're going to be looking at leveraging other people's assets. Who here would love to learn how to do that, where you're just leveraging other people's assets so you're making money without having to put in all the hard work? Does that sound like a good idea? Awesome. That's where we go when we mentor our students. From there, you're going to learn how to find your fans all over the world. One of the things that Alessia and I are uniquely one of the best in the world at, hands down, is understanding the international markets and how to help you go all over the world. Corey, Leslie, and myself have taken more products and services international around the world and help people find their tribes than any other group on the planet. In fact, you're going to find maybe that people are going to love you in Miami Beach. Maybe they're going to love you in the UK. Maybe they're going to love you in Sweden. Maybe they're going to love you in Africa. Well, you know what? It's a big world out there, and you're not playing in it. You need to be. And what I like to show you, what I mentor our students on, is how to find and access markets all over the planet. Last week, I had a meeting set up with the largest incubator in Africa. We're going to start doing partnerships there, bringing more experts, which is why I need you. I need businesses so that I can keep running them through our platforms because we need more products and services to sell. We can't do it all. It's way, 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 way too big for us. But we need more of you so we can plug you into our networks and our platforms. And so we'll teach you how to find your fans all over the world. What if you discovered that in Reykjavik, Iceland, they think you're the coolest thing since ice cream? Wouldn't that be great? But if you don't know how to find them and you don't know how to build those relationships, you'll never find those markets and somebody else will. That put together solves the problem of trying to do it alone, and you build your community. Number 9, the last step to this formula that has generated hundreds of millions of dollars for us is you learn how to create call to actions that get people to take action. Most business owners are constantly stuck in this state of, I'll think about it. I'll get back to you. I got to talk to my wife. Let me talk to the CEO. Let me talk to the team. We'll let you know. We'll call you. We'll get back to you. And yet they never learn how to craft call to actions and offers to close the deal rapidly and at high amounts of money. That solves your influence problem. When you learn how to do call to actions, these are the 9 steps. Take those pictures. Enjoy it. This is 9 steps. This was not created. I didn't read this somewhere. I didn't get taught this by somebody. This is from 2 decades of running companies, doing things wrong, doing things right, and coming up with a sequence to see what were the most successful projects that we worked on. What were they following as a sequence? There you have it. Which one of these steps seems most confronting to you? Which one seems most confronting to you? Just take 10 seconds and drop that into the chat window. I'd love to see which one feels the most confronting to you. Go ahead. So these are great. Thank you very much for these. And Jeffrey asks a question. He says, is it possible to have 2 callings? The first thing I think of is, it's like, Jeffrey, is it possible to have two husbands or 2 wives or 2 girlfriends? Sure, it's possible. It's complex. Let's put it that way. My recommendation would be that you focus on one at a time, or see if you can combine both the callings. But I'm not sure that both girlfriends are always interested in being at dinner at the same time, if you know what I mean. So you got to consider whether the calling that you want to focus on now is the right one. Remember, we've got a long life, and I'm not training you all for the business that you want to launch now or that you're in now. I'm training you to be serial entrepreneurs for the rest of your lives. Who here have lots of passions, lots of ideas, lots of callings, and you may think that you may want to create a number of businesses over your life. Just put your hand up if that seems to be you. You got a lot of passions, a lot of ideas. Absolutely. That's how I was. I mean, the fact that I've created 38 different companies is not just because we were just doing them. I had lots of different passions, a lot of different, it was exciting because you're running a business because you're growing. And as soon as you stop growing, you stop running that business. That's the number one reason why people sell their companies or exit a company is they feel like they've stopped growing at the company. And that is, by the way, the number one reason that leaders leave organizations is because they feel like they've stopped growing. Okay, awesome job. Here's what I want you to do. Real quickly, take a quick stretch up in the air. I'd like you to take a real quick stretch up in the air with me. Just real quick, just reset. Stand on up. Just take a quick stretch up in the air for just 30 seconds. Move that body. Move that body. Move that body. Come on, get it up there.
believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Hey, 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 oh! Stop. Wait a minute. Fill my cup, put some nigga in it. Take a sip, sign the check. Julio, get the stretch. Right to Harlem, Hollywood, Jackson, Mississippi. If we show up, we gon' show.
Okay, so to take you through our next section, which is going to be looking at how do we expand your business and grow it through the use of products. For those of you that are in product businesses here, we have quite a bit of you in product businesses. You're going to be getting a chance to get connected again to our guru in products, Corey, who's going to come on here and share with you our next section on what she's going to be doing this week to be helping you understand how to expand rapidly through the use of products. How many of you here are actually in products, physical products? Just go ahead and put me into the chat window if you are in physical products so that she knows who's there. And then for those of you that are not in physical products right now, I want you to put a 1 in the chat window if you would be interested in learning how to be using physical products in growing your service business this week. And the cool thing is, thank you for all that who are dropping in the chat. The cool thing is that the techniques that Corey brings from the physical product industry helps all of us grow all of our businesses massively. So if you didn't get a chance to meet Corey yet, let me play a quick video of who she is, and then we're going to bring her in here and she's going to start sharing her genius and her brilliance.
Hi, this is Corey Minkus, the CEO of Industry Rockstar. I have spent 25 years in corporate America helping entrepreneurs and business owners launch their brands globally. I've had an opportunity to launch over 100 brands to $1 billion at retail sales. We're going to talk about rocking today's consumer and about the psychology of how consumers buy today, because it's a little bit different than it was 10 years ago, right? On my personal journey to multiply my impact, I have aligned on value-driven mission and seeked out lasting partnerships. I have collaborated with the biggest players in the game throughout my career. Today at Industry Rockstar, I work with our community of business owners and entrepreneurs to help them understand the best practices, the business acumen, and the skills that are necessary to launch their brands globally. After 25 years of spending time really devoted into corporates, helping other people build their businesses, create leadership, inspire others, this has been such a great evolution to take all of the purposeful experiences I created and be able to take that to the entrepreneurs globally on a very deep and a very connected level.
All right. Corey, are you in the house? Corey,
I am in the house. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Great to see you, Corey. How are you?
Great.
Beautiful. Wow.
Nice to see you.
So fancy.
Thank you. Well, you know, I get cleaned up once in a while for everyone. So nice to see you, Kane, brother love, and look forward to seeing everyone here today. So thank you for having me. It's my honor.
You got it. Let's give a big round of applause for Corey. Give her a big hand while she takes the stage here. Corey, I'm going to leave him with you there in a great place, ready to rock and roll with you.
Great. Awesome. I'll look forward to it. Thanks, Kane. Hello, everyone, and good day to you. Good Monday. It's good to see all your smiling faces. And I love when your cameras are on so we can see each other. And, you know, I'm used to running down the aisle and high-fiving people as I go down the aisle to welcome everyone to our event. So good day, everyone. I'm getting lots of good posts and things like that. So thank you. Thank you for being here. And let's see. Kane is telling me I'm distorted. Can you give me feedback on my sound or my visual? Maybe you can help me with that, Kane.
It was beautiful, Corey. I think it just maybe just adjust your mic down a little bit, just on the volume side, and I think we'll be okay.
Adjust my volume down. Is that better?
Just a hair.
Better
If you just
there?
take it down.
Does that sound good?
I think that's better. Yeah. Is that better for everybody?
Sure? Does it sound good? I was just on live and I didn't have a problem, but let me know if it sounds okay or still distorted. Kane.
Okay, no, it sounds fine. That's good. Everything's fine.
Better?
Loud and clear. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
You know,
All
I'm
right,
so
thanks
you know
for
I'm so
letting me
sensitive
know.
about audio. That's why.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me know. We never want to have any distortion in sound. You guys have to hear me good. So this is great. Awesome. All right, we're going to jump in. I'm going to jump over to my slides and just keep me posted. I love all the messages and letting me know you can hear me and see me is awesome. Because now I have my slides and I want to make sure you can see everything going on. Anyways, it's so nice to have it. And you're over here. So if I look over here, it's because you're over here, right? So anyways, welcome. I know Kane has just spent the last couple of hours getting you energized, pumped, and getting you moving in a great direction for what the next several days we're going to spend together are going to look like. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me loud and clear. That's great. And so great to see many of you back here today. So it's so wonderful to be able to be here with you because I know several of you I've met over the last couple of weeks, whether it's on VIP calls or VIP workshops or during our challenges where we've worked together. And we have some amazing individuals in this group at this event this week. So if you haven't had a chance to meet each other, take some time to get to know who's here. And, you know, real conscious business owners who are here looking to elevate, right? Elevate their experience. And I just want to thank you for taking this time to spend this week together where we know that you're stepping away from your businesses to be here to really invest in your growth. And we are so honored that you're doing that and sharing ideas. And we're going to give you tools and business acumen and systems that you're going to be able to accelerate with very quickly. And I know Kane's talked a lot about that today. And today is always exciting because for some of us, we're meeting you for the first time. And we know that this is a distinct pleasure and privilege for us to be able to take all that we've done over our careers, for me, 30 years, and be able to collect that together and put that in a distinct experience for you to transfer that knowledge and then to help you to be able to create that synergy in your own business. So I know that whether you're launching or you're scaling, and I did get a chance to go through the polls. So those of you that filled that out, thank you for doing that. We know why you're here, and we know that we can help you over this coming week get what you're looking to achieve, both in mindset, in evolved opportunities, in identifying those experiences that you want to take into your business. And then, of course, during this week, we want to get to know you. So we want to know those of you that are interested in rocking forward with us and coming into our mentorship program. We want to have one-on-one calls with you. We want to create a deeper rapport with you. We want to start personalizing the experience so that we understand exactly where we're going to go together. And listen, at Industry Rockstar, if Kane hasn't told you, we like to have fun. We used to, again, dance at our events and things. So we dance now in our homes, but we bring you that energy. But we know that when you have fun with us this week, you're going to elevate your ability to learn and absorb all this great information. And so we welcome you to that. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into just kind of what we're here for this week and how this is going to work. First, everyone, thumbs up. Are we all in this together? Maybe just like a rock in the chat box. So I know you can hear me, you can see me, and we're rocking this thing together because, you know, doing it alone is not nearly as much fun as having a team around you to rock together. So that's great. I love it. Rock and roll. Awesome. Yep. Very good. Very good. Thanks for all the responses. I appreciate it. So as Kane probably mentioned to you, my background's been 30 years in working with consumer products businesses around the globe, multinational companies. I was a senior executive and a corporate leader for 25 years. And over the past 5 years, I've been able to package up all of the experience that I've had and deliver it to you here at the mentorship program. And whether you're working business to business or direct to consumer, doesn't matter. We're going to make your business hum and rock. And there's all kinds of changes that we've seen going on, particularly over the last 12 months. Now, I know COVID was something you dealt with before we did in the US because we were with you all in Asia just about a year ago. It was just about a year ago we were with you in Asia. That was our last trip to Asia. And what we've seen during that time for physical product businesses is this enormous lift of opportunity. You know, when you have a physical product business, you grow an asset, right? You grow an asset. And so what we've seen is how that asset has evolved and become so valuable during this time of COVID when people can't go out and physically do things, but what they're looking is to bring those assets into their life. And so when we talk about physical product, we talk about what are the trends that you can partake in around physical products to help you create those experiences in your business. And, we know that, pet products have even elevated higher than they were 12 months ago because more people are at home playing with their pets. We know that things like veterinarian clinics have become so much more important because we know that people are going to those veterinarian clinics to make sure their pets are cared for during this really difficult time. You have a product, you want to have it at a veterinarian clinic if it's a pet product, and we want to find all those channels of distribution that are going to make sense for your product. Certainly, we know that medical and health has been such a elevated area of impact for all of us around the world, taking care of ourselves and understanding how we can do that at home, and we can rely on medical providers to do that. Home health care services have just blown up around the world, people bringing in products and helping people set up home health care in their homes. Again, another area of physical product we're seeing huge growth in. Cleaning, right? How many people want to have a really clean space for themselves now with their families? And, when they do have company over, they want to make sure their offices or their homes are cleaned. The amount of cleaning products that are coming out in the market. So there's all these shifts in physical products that are happening with the trends around us. And it's very important that we still stay very related to those trends so we know exactly how to service those business opportunities, right? Isn't that exciting when you can identify those trends and then you can bring them solutions? It's pretty transformational for people's business. And we know that some of the fastest growing industries on the planet relate to physical products, things like cold and cough medicines, right? Or again, pet or food products that are being sold online. I mean, we know there's more nutrition bars and nutrition drinks and healthy packed meals. I mean, there's all these products that we could be servicing. And for each of you, whether you're currently in a physical product business or you're in a service business looking to launch a physical product, we're going to help you how to connect those trends to what you're doing in your business. So Kane probably mentioned Rock Your Product. I'm the founder of Rock Your Product, and we work together in partnership with Industry Rockstar. So we've got services that we can offer you to help launch physical products. And then, of course, for my physical product-based businesses, some of which got to spend some time with me this past week at our VIP workshop. It's amazing what we're going to be able to do for your businesses and elevate that. So let's just look at who you are and how this presentation and our time together this week is going to make sense for you. So I know Kane asked this early on. I'm just going to ask one more time. Those of you who are in service but are looking to launch or scale a physical product to increase your lifetime value, just type with your customer, just type service for me right now into the chat box. If you're looking to add a channel of revenue with the customers you currently have or the audience you already appeal to, if you're a salon or you're a restaurant or you're a coach and you're looking at how can I bring physical products to service my clients? How can I do that? That's great. We got a good, at least like about a dozen of you, and really all of you, it looks like we're getting up closer to 2 dozen, should understand how you can capitalize on using physical products to launch to your already built networks to quickly elevate more revenue opportunities. And then my product people that are close to my heart, those of you who have launched, scale, or are growing a physical based product, you could just put product into the chat box for me, just simply product. If you're just product alone, tell me if that's your main focus, that's your business's product. Tell me that is your focus. So I see that now I'm seeing a lot of service and product. That's cool. I'd like to know more about your businesses. And I am seeing some product focused businesses, which is great. And sometimes we find that I have one of my co-authors, she started a service and she owned a chain of physical therapy facilities. And after many years of running her physical therapy facilities, she launched a physical product. And from that physical product, she closed all her service provided facilities. And she just went after the product. In the last 5 years, she has developed and grown this product in the market. She's now sold over $150 million of this product. She's now expanding into more product, and we're now taking her into retail. So you don't have to just stay in service. You can certainly grow into product. And because physical product is an asset that you can grow monetary value to and you can sell, we're seeing service providers certainly moving in this direction. If you are a physical product based business and you're looking to leverage, scale, or grow, we're going to show you this week the end-to-end system that we use to help you through this process of that growth and that scale. And we do everything from sourcing the product, so we can help you understand that first entry point of sourcing through knowing who the consumer is that you're servicing. We call it the consumer journey. Then we're going to talk about building a brand, market asset creation, which we'll get into later this week, leveraging customer experiences so that you can grow market share and massive potential to really impact the consumers that you're talking to. How many people are excited by this? Does this sound like something like mind-blowingly fun to dive into? Because it's just going to open up and unleash all this opportunity for your business. Again, whether you're in service or physical products, this is a part of what we teach you here at Industry Rockstar. So getting lots of cools. That's awesome. I love it. Love it. Love it. So let me just tell you who this is for. So if you were wondering, obviously, if you're a physical product company, you're in the right place. And if you're an online e-commerce business looking to grow and scale, whether you're in dropship or whether you right now are an affiliate of other people's products, whether you're an MLM, we work with all kinds of physical products providers. If you have a retail store, does anyone here have a retail store or is a manufacturer, a retail store or manufacturer, and you want to go direct to the consumer? You want to create opportunities that can elevate your personal brand. Maybe you want to do private label. Maybe you want to just create your own brand as a manufacturer. These are all things that we can help you with to understand. And then, of course, if you're what I call a wannabe, launch a product. So a WTL, I want to launch. And if that's you and you're in service businesses, then you're in the right place. So we're looking forward to spending this week with you. So let me just tell you a little bit about Start at the Top. Of course, you know it's an award-winning training program. And this week, we're going to talk about two specific areas and distinctions I'm going to be presenting on. Kane's got tons of opportunity in areas he's going to present on. But there's two areas I'm going to focus on this week. And I find that they're actually the most important areas for you to evolve in your business acumen as you grow and scale your business. This is extraordinarily important. And it doesn't matter if you're generating if you're pre-revenue and you haven't even generated the first dial of revenue, or for our clients who are in our company, that we work with in our system that are generating $2 million, $3 million, $10 million of revenue. These principles are fundamental for you to apply at every step of the process. So we're just going to look at it from that standpoint. So tomorrow, which will be Tuesday for you, I'm going to talk about what's called the evolved consumer. And this is your customer, whether you're selling B2B or direct to consumer. This is about understanding the psychology of your relationship with your consumer. This is about understanding who is your audience and what do they need and what do they want from you and your brand. And this is extremely important to stay relevant and connected to the customer. So we're going to talk about, as a brand owner, if you're currently selling a product, we need to get you into a brand owner mindset. Because once you get into that mindset, you can quickly build rapport and strength in your market that you're going after. And we understand better the consumer needs. And we're going to teach you the systems that we have been used by the biggest major brands around the world that I've worked with over the last 30 years. And we've broken down those systems so that we can start to teach them to you and train them to you. And then through the mentorship program, help you individualize how to use those systems in your business. So that's what we're going to do on Tuesday for you. And on Wednesday, I'm going to reveal the proprietary Rock Your Product system. Now, this was designed, again, over 25 years of distilling down exactly how major brands did it. I'm going to show you the modeling system that we use to increase the demand for your physical product, whether it's online that's digital, or whether it's offline through offline channels of distribution. I'm going to get a little bit more into this in a few minutes. We're going to talk about how you can raise the bar of experiences that you can create with your customers through e-learning and e-shopping. And we're going to talk about the domains that physical products come in the world of digital. In fact, I'm working on the very last chapter of my book this week. It's been almost, 14 months in the making. If anyone's ever written a book, has anyone here ever written a book? If you've ever written a book or even published an article, you know the process of getting all that information out of your head and onto paper. And I am writing my last chapter, which is called Be Relevant. And it literally is talking about all of the things that are going on online and how online is all about communication and learning and connecting. And really shopping is only one component of that. And so anyway, you'll have to read my book to get all that awesome information, but I'm going to share much of it with you this week. And then of course, the mentorship program, we work in detail about how to utilize and capitalize on the online world. But because my background is also in offline retail, and still today, 85% of the world's GDP is spent offline, that means consumers are not buying it online, they're shopping online, they're reading, they're getting educated. But we're going to show you how you can actually exponentially grow your business offline. And I have brands that come to me that again are making a minimal amount of money and they just want to launch offline. I have brands that are doing $30-50 million a year online and they want to figure out how to optimize and grow their business offline. So we're going to be able to use the effective tools for both. So just curious, which presentation sounds more interesting to you? Number one, the evolved consumer, or number two, the product in the world of e-com? I'd love to hear which one's going to be more exciting for you. And it could be both. I would take both. That would be fine too. But just curious, number two, great, e-commerce, awesome too, both. I'm getting lots of both. That's great. Good. Well, I'm glad because I'm planning on presenting both, whether you liked it or not. But I'm always interested in hearing your feedback. That is how I grow and I learn best, is when I get great feedback. So that's great. Evolve consumer, e-commerce, right? Yeah, both. That's great. And I promise you both these topics, everyone loves the consumer conversation because it's something we forget about, right? When we're in our businesses, we forget that there's someone out there that we need to actually connect with. So, and I'm just going to take you through a couple distinctions just to whet your appetite today for you, just to whet your appetite. And I want to talk about this. Now, when I talk and speak on stages around the world and give presentations even to large corporations, direct to consumer, someone asked me what D2C is. That is selling direct to the consumer versus business to business. Great question. Thank you for asking that. I don't have my glasses on, but I think it says Rajan. So hopefully I'm saying that right. So when I speak and I work with big corporates around the world, I help them to understand how to help their employees understand the mindset of the consumer. So this is an area that I have a lot of passion around. And I'm really about helping you to understand how you craft in your own businesses this personalized experience in your businesses. And that's why understanding your consumer is so important. And we see this world of, fast moving, fast growth, and we also know that there's opportunity knocking on your door, right? And so this week at the summit, we're going to again teach you some of these things that are really vital to understanding right now. Everything right now feels, and someone asked me what direct to consumer is, everything feels right now like it's really about direct to consumer. And there is no bigger, better time today than to leverage a really deep rapport. I'm just going to take myself off here so you can see this slide. A really deep rapport and relationship with your customers. The customer today is king and everyone is consuming information online. This is the place to do it. And so again, whether you're selling business to business or B2C, and I'll come back so you can see me, it is important and essential that you understand your relationship with your customer, because the more meaningful you can make that relationship, the more you invest in understanding that relationship, the more you can create opportunities of massive depth in your business. In fact, one of the things I work with you on in the mentorship program is understanding retention programs, because man, once you win that customer, oh, someone asked me to move. Okay, let's do it again. Once you win that customer over, the way to create multipliers and metrics that are beyond your conceptual opportunities at this point is that you need to understand how to retain those people at the highest level in your business. So we're going to talk about that and understanding how to use your database to really optimize your experience with your customers, because audiences are more open today. I'm going to come back so you can see me. Audiences are more open today to understanding what you've got to deliver to them. Kane was talking earlier about tonight when I did my live, we're talking to entrepreneurs and we're finding those relatable subjects that they want to know more about, that we can bring into our system so that they fall even more in love with us, right? It's not just about us teaching them how to be entrepreneurs and business owners. It's about creating a relationship of massive magnitude in partnering together, right? I mean, it's kind of like if you went on a date with somebody and you just spoke about, ice cream every time you went on the date, it would get kind of boring. So we're going to teach you how to attract the customers and then to retain them in a trusted source and experience. And then market message match. This is so important. This is where what you say connects to the dollars you receive. Okay, I'm going to say it again. It's what you say connects to the dollars you receive. And customers are spending more and more time helping to distinguish for themselves where they prioritize their relationship with people like you, which is their brands, right? And how many of you have tried just during COVID, maybe in the last, 18 months, something new? You've tried a new brand or a new product. You've somehow been exposed to something that was new and you said, gosh, a friend told me about this, or, my family told me about this, or I read about it online and it got me excited to jump in and try something new. More people are trying new brands today than ever in the history of our planet. So if you're not saying yes, you probably should open your eyes to all of the opportunity that you could be taking advantage of in your own personal life to try something new. And that same opportunity is happening with consumers around the planet. So we want to help you customize what we call your brand promise. That's what you promise to your customers you're going to deliver through your product. Okay. And that market message match, so meaning that it's important to them and that it's hyper focused on them, is super important, especially, and we'll talk about this week, when we talk about omni-channel shopping environment. And we're going to go over that. I'm going to show you how that looks. It's called omni-channel shopping or omni shopping or omni environment. You can see it a couple different ways. And this will be a game changer for you. And I'll connect these dots in a map for you tomorrow so you can see how that works. And then, of course, we're going to work with you on becoming a thought leader in your business. And Kane talked about the CEO training that we did for our students last week. And we talked about the fact that you may be the founder of your business, but you now need to become the thought leader of your business. Why? Because people buy from people who they have confidence and trust in. How many of you buy from people that you trust or that you feel confident in their brand, that they're going to deliver that brand value they say they're going to deliver? How many of you love connecting with brands that make you feel good, confident, and get results, right? Bring you the results that you want, right? How many of you feel connected more to brands that deliver that thought leadership to you? And we're going to teach you how to deliver that thought leadership to your customers. How cool is that? And then last but not least for tomorrow, we're going to talk about speed to market. How many of you need to move faster in what you're doing? You can just put maybe a fast in the chat box so we can distinguish it from some of the other things. Just put fast in the chat box. Customers are quickly adapting and shifting today so fast. I mean, how many of you have had to quickly pivot and adapt to life today, right? Many of us have had to do that. And as fast as you're moving, your customers are moving twice as fast. And that is because of this information highway we have all around us. And we're not looking for perfection in what you're doing. We are looking to help you understand how to perform, to pull that genius out of you and get you in fast action. And so we're going to encourage you to move fast this week. We're going to help you speed up that dial of making decisions because we're going to help you understand how to make those decisions more quickly so that you can get through them to get to the next big decision you need to make. We're going to give you and build that confidence for you as an entrepreneur that you can do that, whether it's in this business or the next business that you launch with us. Okay. So that's what we're going to do on talking about the evolved consumer tomorrow. So thumbs up. That's going to be super fun. And I look forward to that with you. And then on Wednesday, we're going to talk about product, the Rock Your Product system, and the increased demand for e-commerce. We know that online shopping and education, which is called e-learning, is at an all-time high. Of course, we know that consumers are shopping more online as well. We know that during COVID, that online shopping went up about 18%. Now, we also know it has settled back down a little bit. That's why we need to make sure we understand offline disciplines as much as online disciplines. And I'm telling you, Rock Your Product is the only place in the world that I can give you both. It's an amazing end-to-end system. I'm very proud of the years I spent offline, now learning how to use online and optimize with the experts that we've got. Kind of call it our golden Rolodex of experts who work with us on social media and digital ad buying and YouTube channels and Instagram expertise for shopping and all the things that we get into with you. So the Rock Your Product system is really rooted in these verticals that we're going to go through here real quick today. Number one is we're going to talk about reoccurring and multiple revenue streams, How many of you would like to have more than one way to make money? One way, you can just put 2 in the chat box. You want at least 2 ways to make money. So we're going to talk about how to get you to at least 2 ways to make money, maybe 3, 4, 5, and 10, but we'll talk about that later on down the line. And we're going to talk about how you can take physical products to create a reoccurring business revenue stream for your company. In fact, what it will do is actually create new multipliers for your business when we look at that end game. And you said, yes, multiply income streams. We love it. That's right. How many of you know who J-Lo is? You know, she's a popular singer, J-Lo, you know, she's been around a long time. She just launched her first product brand herself. Now, here's someone who, you know, goes out and she does her concerts, she, you know, does her albums, she makes music. And you would think that that would satisfy her needs, but this is how much everyone's getting into the product game because they realize that when you create an optimized product and an asset like a physical product, you can just churn that out and keep going with it over and over and over again. You can create subscription boxes that people become members of. You can just keep encouraging that experience with the brand. And that is why J-Lo is launching this product. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the cost to attract customers and how you can actually create a system using Facebook, Instagram, and social media platforms and connect to your customers to be able to better optimize the cost it costs you to attract that customer. So we're going to help you position yourself for growth in this area. And we're going to teach you all of the alternative channels to optimize that customer and bring down that cost. How exciting is that? And then we're going to talk about capitalization on product category trends. We talked about this a little bit earlier in my conversation tonight, but we're going to get into seeing where there's those connections where product-based businesses can rely on services and service-based businesses can acquire those products in those hot trending categories that will start to become groundbreaking or opportunities for quick growth for your business. And then last but not least, we call this the trifecta. We're seeing this a lot with businesses out there who are doing technology, service, and product and bringing it together in this experience that they're creating for their customers. How many of you would like to understand how to create an experience around your brand? Because let me just tell you a little secret, which is brands that create experiences are who are winning today with the consumer. So it's all about the experience, and we're going to teach you how to start creating that experience, and then we're going to customize it with you in your businesses. So you have 5 days to embrace all of this evolution of experience. You have 5 days to start to think about how you're going to partner with Rock Your Product. You're going to start thinking about how you're going to customize these methods and these systems and grow your business, and how we're going to invest in you to do that. So I am so excited. I wanted to just take a few minutes to share with you a little bit about who I am and my background. As Kane said, look, we look at you all like your family. We come in this together, and we're going to play this game together, because your win is our win. We've been doing this for 15 years, and we work with our clients hand in hand to make sure that you're going to get the outcome in your business that you're going to put into it. And that's what we're here for. So I just want to tell you a little bit about who I am. I'll start with this. This is kind of fun. I'll get myself off the screen for a few minutes here. Can anyone guess who this may be in this picture? Anyone has any ideas? I can give you a little clue. So Kane is my little brother. So if you didn't know that, Kane is my adorable little brother. We also have a big brother as well. And Kane is 7 years younger than I am. So I was almost 8 years old in this picture. And it is Kane on the right. If you notice, he's got pink shoes on. So when we talk about colors and what colors work in sales, we all love pink in our family, but that's because, he had an adoring sister who loved him. And I still love him, and I'm still blessed we get to spend this time working together. So about this age, I was about 8 years old, and I was told by educators, you dressed Kane up in dresses. I did. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, and you'll see why I dressed him up in dresses. But he was my doll. I mean, how many of you had dolls when you were young, right? You dressed him up. Well, he was my doll. He was my human doll. So anyways, when I was about 8 years old, I was told by educators that I had a learning disability. And I was told by my educators, who I trusted, I believed in, this is my teachers and the administration at the schools I was attending. They told me that I had a learning disability that was going to prevent me from being able to have the life that I wanted to have. They actually sat me down and told my parents and I that I would need to be able to make some hard decisions, because they told me that the likelihood was that I wasn't going to go on to higher education or learning, and I was going to have to accept the fact that my life was going to be less than what I thought I could achieve because of these learning disabilities that they had identified in my academic situation, in my academics. And so at a very young age, I had to make a decision at 8 years old whether I was going to accept the limiting beliefs of my educators, of my teachers, of my mentors, or whether I was going to hold myself fully accountable and create my future the way that I wanted to create it. And so, of course, I was very dedicated as a very young child, that my life was going to be my life, and that I was going to be the only one that was going to dictate the opportunities and the outcomes in my life. And I became very unstoppable as a child. What sometimes feels like a really bad situation can end up being a really positive situation in your life. And I knew that in order to get there, I would need to seek out the opportunities that would elevate my ability to learn in the best form that I knew how to learn in, right? So if the education system wasn't going to teach me the way I needed to learn, I needed to go out and I needed to find the mentors, the coaches, the support systems, the tools, the equipment, in order to be able to find those systems that were going to get me to where I wanted to get to, because I was going to be unstoppable. So I went out, and I actually, at a very young age, I became let me get myself off here. I became a figure skater. This was me. I actually ended up being a competitive figure skater for 22 years. This is me with Scott Hamilton. If anyone knows who Scott Hamilton is, he actually was an Olympian gold medalist in 1984, and he won 4 consecutive U.S. and world championships. He was one of my coaches, and I went out and I found the best coaches, the mental coaches, the body coaches, the skating coaches. I did everything I could to understand what I needed to do to grow and learn in the sport, and not just physically, but mentally as well. Someone said, oh, yes, I met him. Yes, I met him. Yeah, it was awesome. That's really me, even though it doesn't really look like me, right? And I spent this time, and I kept doing this. And I have to tell you, I spent years building who I was in my life. And through this, I actually, as I mentioned, I mean, I've spent almost 30 years now innovating consumer product businesses in the world. And let me just get myself off the screen here so you could see I have launched over 100 brands and expanded them to actually $1 billion in sales. I've done over 5,000 presentations, both for capital investment and for partnership pitches. I've done over 5,000 physical store location sales over the trajectory of my career. And as I mentioned, $1 billion. And of course, I've got this book deal. We were supposed to launch in May. We're now pushing out into the fall based on some additional work we're doing on the book, some additional studies we're doing. But Simon & Schuster is actually publishing my book, one of the top book publishers in the world. I have 2 amazing co-authors. And this is a magazine cover I was recently on. And I'll tell you what, it is all about being unstoppable in your life. And I tell you this not to impress upon you what I've done in my life. I tell you to impress upon you that this is how I work as your mentor, as your coach, as your consultant in your business, because I know that when you can cultivate the right mindset, you can become unstoppable. When you understand what your purpose and your action is, you can become unstoppable. When you have the systems and the techniques and the right tribe, you too can become unstoppable. And that is what we do here every day. This is why I do this, is because I work with business owners around the world who not only just want to make another dollar in their business, but they want to be unstoppable at their life. And that is what I'm here for. I have worked and learned models and success systems from the biggest brands in the world, And I've worked alongside leaders that understand capitalization techniques and overcoming financial challenges. And they understand how to be thought leaders in their business. And I've taken all of this and distilled this down into the Rock Your Product system. And this is my tribe. This is who I hang out with now. Randy Zuckerberg. In fact, she just wrote me tonight. She did her first golf tournament, which I come from a big golf family. Randy Zuckerberg, who finds empowering pathways for female business owners. And then there's, of course, Les Brown, and Kane mentioned, earlier about, one of our favorite people on the planet, Les, such an amazing contributor to our world. He said this great quote to me once: if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. And if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. And Les is filled with so much love and brilliance. Alex Mendozian, who is a brilliant online marketer. We work with him on high growth models for your business. Lisa Nichols, Kane mentioned Bob Proctor. Lisa Nichols and Bob Proctor were in The Secret together. And Lisa, I hired to be my speaking coach to help me to do better storytelling. So hopefully my story's coming across better. She is one of the leaders in helping storytell and craft that message of impact. We do this in the Industry Rockstar mentorship program, but it's not just about having one mentor. It's about finding and collecting those people that are going to change your life. Mahima, who is both a student of ours here at Industry Rockstar. She's been in Industry Rockstar for years. You'll probably hear about her this week. She has been an unbelievable mentor in my life around spirituality. Dean and Tony, they obviously work on educational programs. Let me get myself off here so you can see what's going on. But Dean started in the world of real estate education and teaching deal making. And these are the people that we surround ourselves with. Even, I don't know if you know who Marcus Lemonis is from The Prophet. Marcus is a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company called Camping World. He and I have worked together on many initiatives, and he had me on his TV show many times. And of course, Kevin Harrington, who is a brilliant partner of ours at Industry Rockstar. We work with him hand in hand in all of our product-based business growth opportunities. He's not only a partner, but he's become a brother to Kane and I, and we are just very, very fond of working with Kevin and his contributions to our community. And then last but not least, we all have to have our personal tribes outside outside of our work lives, right? To support us. This is my loving family. This is my husband, who I have been married to and with for 30 years. He not only was my high school sweetheart, but we then had two beautiful boys. Both are competitive athletes. One is a college golfer, and the other is just won the state this year as a freshman in college. So I'm very proud of them. This is Kanan, my older brother. He is a surgeon, and we adore him. And then, of course, last but not least, no woman would be complete without her girlfriends. So I am just all into making sure my life is well balanced with my friends. And so here's the deal. I cannot wait to get started with you tomorrow. And I just want to leave you with this thought. What you do and say and how people feel will develop what your brand looks like. And we're going to start diving in this tomorrow so that you can really see the synergies on how, when you really understand the consumer and then you have the system to put it all together, you can take your brand to the next evolution, to the next experience, and you can really create a business that you're proud of. You can leave as a legacy on this planet, and you can have an asset that you can create forever and more to pass on for generations to come. So I hope this was a great 30 minutes we got to spend together today, not only for you to understand how we're going to spend our time together over the next couple days, but also how we can work together and how this system is going to be mighty impactful for you. So, and thank you for letting me share my personal story. It's always a pleasure for you to see the behind the scenes of who we are as people. So anyways, thank you so much for your time today. And I know Kane is going to help us rock off the rest of the day and get us going here. It was a pleasure meeting all of you today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Awesome. Give Corey a huge round of applause for that. Thank you so much, Corey. That was awesome. I love it. And she's got so much she's going to be sharing this week. In between those presentations, we're going to be doing all the other service stuff as well. We're going to be looping it all together, and she's going to help you all understand the genius from her side. So how many of you enjoyed that? Got some good things out of that? And nonetheless, how many of you get how unstoppable she is as a woman and as a business owner? She's amazing. Amazing. You're going to love her. Awesome. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to roll right into our networking session right now. And so what we're going to do in just a moment is we're going to be setting you up into rooms. So in just a moment, you'll get an opportunity to jump into a room. But let me explain what you're going to be doing so that you can create this networking opportunity as a great opportunity for you to get the most out of. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to divide you up into about 6 to 8 different people in a room. So you'll have a small group of about 6 to 8 people. You're going to get essentially 10 minutes to network in that room. And here's what you're going to do. So you may want to just jot these notes down because you're going to be sort of self-sufficient. I'm going to pop in and out of different rooms and make sure everything's going okay. But I'm going to ask you to be self-sufficient in terms of leading the room. When you get put into the room, in just a moment, if you've never been in breakout rooms on Zoom, what will happen is you'll get a little thing that'll pop up on your screen, and it'll say, please click here to be whisked away to another breakout room. When you do that, you will arrive with just those people from that room. We would love for everybody to turn on their cameras at this point so that you can all be involved in this from a visual standpoint. If for some reason it's absolutely not, it's not possible, I don't know if you're somewhere where you just can't do it, no problem. But just remember, it'd be much easier for those that are networking to be live and visual on camera with you. And what's going to happen then is once you get into a room, what I'd like you to do is select one person to be the timer for the room, and you're going to give the room basically 10 minutes. What you're going to do then is you're going to go around and you're going to give a 30-second to 1-minute answer to a question that I'm going to give you. For example, the first question I'm going to ask you to discuss is, where do you see the biggest opportunity in your business in 2021? So that's the question. Where do you see the biggest growth opportunity in your business for 2021? Now, we'll put these questions up on the chat window so you have them as well, so you know what they are. The point is that you'll get a question, and then you're going to get into that group, and you're going to go. The person that's the timer, so you're going to select somebody that's a timer. They're going to start timing. And you're going to get 1 minute per person to share what your thoughts are on that. That will give you about 8 minutes, and then you can discuss or talk a little bit about that at the end after everybody has gone. Here's what I'd like you to say in this order, so just write this down. Number 1, who are you? So what's your name? Okay. What's the business that you're in or the career that you're in right now? Okay. What brought you here to start at the top? Now I'm talking kind of one-line sentences. So if I were to do it, I would say, hi, I'm Kane Minkus. I'm a serial entrepreneur. And I've owned 38 different companies. What brought me here to start at the top is I have to be leading the event. It'd be a little strange if I wasn't here. Okay. But say if I was a student, I'd say, I came here because I'm really looking to grow and get better digital marketing techniques or get better speaking techniques. And then I'd say, so the opportunity that I see is the biggest opportunity for growth here is going into SaaS systems or going into new markets, or what they were talking about today in terms of launching physical products for my business, or what they were talking about today in terms of being able to connect with my market better, or changing the way where my attention is, solving different problems, whatever you see as the main area. And we're going to do all that within 1 minute. So the timer person is going to have a 1 minute clock, right? You can just use your phones or whatever, and you're going to time 1 minute. And therefore, if they're starting to go along, you can just put it up on the screen. And let's be respectful and responsible so that we don't run over everybody else's time, so that we keep it to about 1 minute. And let's not do it for 10 seconds. Say, hi, I'm Kane, and I'm happy to be here. I mean, let's go through the format and let's let other people understand how they can connect to us, who we are, what we do, why we came here, and where our biggest opportunity is. So up to 1 minute, that'll give everybody in the group, up to about 6 to 8 minutes, and then you can discuss amongst you. Hey, John, you said something really interesting earlier. I just want to address that. Then when the rooms are about to close, you'll see a little sign that says you've got 60 more seconds and then the room will close. We'll bring you back to this main room here. This works just like the main conference hall and little side breakout rooms. And then we will re-scramble everybody and put you into brand new rooms. And within 90% or so, you're in completely brand new rooms with new people, so that you're not going and networking with the same people again. Then I'll give you a different question to discuss. You'll do the 1 minute timers on everybody as well. Then we'll come back and we'll do it one more time. So we're going to do 3 rounds, but that should scatter everybody into all sorts of different rooms. And I'll give you 3 different questions to discuss. Does that make sense to everybody? Pretty clear about how we're going to do that? Okay, great. It's very, very, very exciting and interesting and valuable when you participate and you engage, because you'll get a chance to meet a lot of interesting players here. And there are a lot of interesting people. I've gone through all of your profiles and backgrounds. I know, as much as we can about each of you, as my team does research on you based on your emails and your phone numbers and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of very interesting players here. And I would just say everybody is an interesting player here, because everybody's up to a big game and everybody's going to be a future rock star. That's what we're talking about here. Okay. So let's get the team. The team will pull up all the different rooms. You can go ahead and drop it in there. Go ahead and whisk yourself away. Pick the leader, and you'll have 1 minute a person. 10 minutes in total, and then we'll call you back to the main room. Go for it. I'll see you in just a bit.
Be still my heart, 'cause it's freaking out.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. Never had before, no, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before, no, I get a good feeling.